Welcome to 032 Conversations, the podcast where we talk to creatives, see how they live, and how they do their work. I'm your host, Carlo Villarica. Senor, everybody. How was your sinulog? For sinulog, gone are the days that go down to Mango and party. Those days are long gone for me. But last sinulog, I did a little cycling around the city just to see what it was like, and it was really fun. Got stuck in traffic. Went with my dad and my cousin. And it was fun in a way. You can't really get your bike going. There's so many people. Last sinulog, this sinulog, the one that just finished, I wanted to do the same thing. And then I quickly realized that it's probably not gonna be as fun. So I remember I cycled down I think that was Gorordo. And then eventually I reached a sea of people, and then I just couldn't get through. So, I was like, I just want I just realized too that, all right, if I'm not gonna cycle around Sinulog, see these places, or, I wanted to take pictures. I even brought my camera. And then I just decided, okay, I just want a good cup of coffee and maybe a snack or something. So I ended up spending my whole afternoon in Bottega. It's this little cafe sandwich shop in Rosal Street, I believe that's where it is. Anyway, I'll link to it in the show notes. But it's Bottega, and it's a really nice place. And then I ended up spending my whole afternoon, my whole Sinulog afternoon there, just talking to the people who hang out there. It's a nice vibe and really, really chill. So how was your Sinulog? What did you guys do? Party it up? Party it up. I'm recording this right now. It's like in the middle. I should be sleeping, but, I couldn't record. I couldn't record an intro over the weekend because, life. So I'm doing it now, and I'm hoping to finish everything and get this out by tomorrow. So, yeah. And before we get to the interview, Foresa Trails of Cebu Development Industrial Park Developers, Inc., in partnership with 4 Events Cebu, they're an event service, bring you the Foresa Nature Photo Contest 2019. This 3-day camp in nature photography contest is happening February 1 to 3. It's the perfect playground for nature and photography enthusiasts, as well as hikers, campers, and bikers to immerse in the beauty of nature while having the opportunity to win amazing prizes. All you need to do to register for the contest is pay 550 pesos for the fee. Covers the entrance, the camping, the hiking, the biking fees for the entire duration of 3 days. Includes a welcome kit, and you have 3 official photo entries. The prizes are not bad. First place, 20,000 pesos. Second place, 15. Third place, 10. Few rules. No drone shots. Entries must be in full color. No black and white or sepia shots allowed. So non-contest participants can also enjoy the event for 250 pesos. It'll cover the entrance, the camping, the hiking, biking fees for 3 days. So head on out to Foresa to enjoy the outdoors. Celebrate nature and take part in Cebu's first ever Camp in Nature Photo Contest. You can register at foresanaturephotocontest.com. Yeah, like last year, a bunch of friends of mine went to Foresa and we just went mountain biking that area. It was really cool. It was really fun, and I really enjoyed that. So head on over to Foresa. Yeah, thank you, Foresa, for sponsoring the podcast. In this episode of 032 Conversations, we talked to Rye Kido. When I first got into cycling, and I didn't have a bike yet, and I was still looking at what kind of bike I would get. What really intrigued me was the fixed gear community. Now, first of all, I ended up I don't know how I discovered fixed gear for myself, but I remember looking at pictures of the bikes and they were beautiful. the I don't know, it's just this particular aesthetic that I really enjoy. It's super clean, super simple. And so that's what got me to research about the fixed gear community and the fixed gear bikes in general. And whenever I talk to anyone about that particular community here in Cebu, Rye Kido's name always came up. Well, it always came up. Like I think the first time his name came up was in my interview with France Deadways. He mentioned Rye Kido. And I think fixed gear in Cebu, Rye Kido is one of the pioneers of that community here. And after doing some research, not only has he had a hand in that community, but he's had a hand in several initiatives to make Cebu a more cycling and pedestrian-friendly city. Turns out he helped organize the Road Revolution a few years ago. If you don't remember the Road Revolution, it was this one Sunday, I believe, where they closed the roads from Capitol all the way down to Fuente, all the way down to downtown, I think. And then they closed the roads for cars. So many like pedestrian or cyclists or skateboarders came out, and it was a really cool event. It was so cool to see that whole stretch of road like empty and just pedestrian friendly. Like people were walking around. It was really fun, and of course it got a lot of flak from drivers. So, but well, we'll talk about it. We talk a lot about the state of, commuting in Cebu, about traffic and possible answers to that traffic. And then, if you've listened to this podcast long enough, you already know that I'm a little biased. I'm a lot biased to riding the bicycle as a commute. And not only did he help organize Road Revolution, he also spearheaded a group called Critical Mass Cebu, which he'll talk about in the episode. So yeah, if you want to learn a little bit more about bikes or want to open your mind to other forms of commuting around Cebu, this might be the episode for you. If this is your first time to listen to 032 Conversations, I urge you to subscribe. We come out with an episode every Tuesday. And I work hard to make sure it comes out every Tuesday. Like a part of me wanted to just sleep and just say, you know what, screw it. I'll just release this Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday or whatever. And then I'm like, you know what, I'll just sleep a little later than usual and get this done. So let's get to the interview with Rye Kido. I want to, because as I mentioned earlier off mic that, so I think I first came across your name through France.
Right.
No, when I interviewed France Deadways. And then, because at the time, I was first getting into cycling. And then I wanted to know a little bit about this fixed gear community. And he said, yeah, if you want to know about fixed gear, you go to Rye Kido. And I didn't know it at the time, but you were the one handling the Cebu Fixed Gear page on Facebook, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so I mean, just for like the listener who has no idea what fixed gear is, what is fixed gear?
Fixed gear is basically officially a track bike that is to be used solely for velodrome or closed circuit racing. But now with the advent of YouTube and all these like social media like apps that you can upload videos from all over the country or all over the world, then the viewers or listeners can search on Google fixie track or any kind of like fixed gear related videos. Most of them now are on urban streets, whether it's like populated like in a city or outskirts of the city. But now
it's a type of bike.
It's a type of bike that has a single gear, and then most of the original people back home in Los Angeles were kind of like bandits or like, playing cowboys and Indians with like them and the police chasing them. Okay. We don't use brakes. We don't employ any kind of braking system since the single gear is already fixed through the sprocket. So wala siya free wheel. And then
so you can't coast.
You can't coast at all. So it allows you to stop, kind of like almost if you
pedal backwards, then
if
the
you
wheel
programmed your body, it would almost be like, it's a learning curve. Usually when you pedal the bike, and then you stop, it just coasts. And then when you get on a fixed gear bike, there is a little bit of danger involved unless you're aware about what you're really doing instead of posing ba.
Okay. Because there's definitely a learning curve. I was telling you kanina, diba? So I've only recently made my bike a fixed gear.
Correct.
And then I told you it was like learning to ride a bike all over again. And then all my little habits of like I'll pedal and then I'll stop pedaling. Wow, that stopped really quickly. That habit ended really quickly as soon as I changed my bike into a fixed gear.
Right. So with that in mind, these kids, I'd call them kids, even they all range anywhere from the teens to like their professional life at the call centers, and even like retired people using fixed gear track bikes on the streets commute. Okay, it's lighter to maneuver or service or even like bring to the office. It's like the convenience of having like a simple bike. So it is the simplest form of a bike other than a unicycle.
Yeah, the true fixed gear.
Yeah. So mo na siya. And then so any case, now it's evolved from when I started or when I came back home in 2010. Apparently some people thought that like, what kind of bike did I bring or what kind of bike am I using? I don't get off the bicycle when I'm at a stoplight. So I'm like literally like balancing on the bike, but it's
track standing.
Yeah, track standing is not really showing off. It's just like, why would you get off a bike if you can just stay on it, like sitting on a chair if it becomes normal?
I need to practice that. I've been so frustrated the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
Just getting in and out of traffic because the traffic it stops right in front of you, and then it's. I know magud nga that's there. Like you can track stand, like people can track stand. And then when I was still freewheeling, when I was still single speed, I could sort of do it to a certain degree. No?
Okay.
But like not like, not for like 5 minutes or something, but to a certain degree I could do it. But with the single speed, with the fixed gear now, murag akong confidence is shot goodbye. Like what good? Like I don't have the confidence to do it at all. And then I know that there's so many like little situations on the road. I really want to do it. So I've been practicing like at night in my garage.
Okay. So what we would actually encourage you or the listeners to do, if there are listeners that are track or fixed gear riders locally listening to your podcast, and hopefully there's a lot. So just go out and ride, and then get to a safe area, like out of like public streets, maybe like find like a parking lot, and then just slowly and more slowly stop, like approach a halt, and then try to hold that balance. Then you'll start figuring it out, like whether you're a lefty or a righty, and then the positioning of your handlebars, and then finding your center of gravity on the bike, and then the balance, then it will slowly come to you.
Like just repetition, just practice. Like I suggest like a few YouTube videos, I guess. No, just
No, actually, YouTube will kind of help, but if you have like some people to ride with, it will be a little bit better because like they can explain to you the mechanics of how that is supposed to happen, or what you're supposed to start feeling once you get that certain point. Gani nga, kanang, hapit na, and then, what, you lost it, and this is what you should do. Because the YouTube is like, you're just gonna hit pause and play, and then it's all either in English or it's subtitled or something, and then you have the process that you don't have interaction. Gani. So it's much better when you're doing interaction with someone in a group that can actually encourage and coach you like properly. Properly is kind of like stretching like the boundaries of proper. Okay, there's no such thing as proper really when it comes to fixed gear riding. Okay? Any of the rules go out the window when you're street riding. So there's a lot of things involved with that. But in any case, if you're struggling with track standing, definitely just practice, because it will eventually become not perfect but permanent.
When did you first encounter like a fixed gear? Because I can't remember when I first encountered it. I just remember thinking I want to get a bike, and I was looking online. And I'll be honest, I looked at the fixed gears, and then the first thing that I thought of when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, that is a beautiful looking bike. And then, purely aesthetics. Like, I was like, wow, that looks so nice. And then you start reading about the culture, about the whole idea with it. Murag, then it becomes interesting. But where did you first encounter?
First encountering fixed gear bikes was actually more like in Santa Monica, California. So I was living with a girl back then, I don't know, some many moons ago, 10, 15 years ago. They exist over there as just like leisure bikes. Kung dito pagod sa Daplindagat, it's like beach bikes with surfboards on the side. This one was for like the more, I guess, aggressive riders, but really just strolling along the bike path or like the walking pathway on the shoreline. It goes from Santa Monica to Venice all the way down to Redondo, and it goes you can ride forever on the coast in California, where here in Cebu or in the Philippines, it's kind of limited, so you kind of need to be pushed on the road. So now going back to what year I was aware that there was a fixie, let's just say that I became aware about fixed gear bikes because nagduwa kog tabanog sa Daplindagat, and then my kite crashed. Kaya I was too busy looking at like beautiful girls, it's like two-piece, and it's like over there's no malice when it comes to like showing body and skin. So I'm like, nagtanga lang ko ba? I'm like, wow, what are these bikes that they're riding? There's like no brakes. There's no.
So these girls were using those bikes.
Oh yeah, and so it was kind of like an attraction. Of course, I've got balls and testosterone, and like love women and things like that. So it's like then I was attracted to the idea. Like, okay, maybe one of these days, instead of me rollerblading, it would be kind of like weird, like rollerblading behind like a few girls or a few guys, like, just to check out what their bike looks like. So I would have to say this was like 10 years ago, 2008, borderline 2009. There's a real deep culture within Los Angeles about fixed gear bikes. And of course, it's like a bigger country over there. Like, each city almost has its own velodrome. While here in the Philippines, we really only have one, which
the velodrome is the Murag. It's like a track. It's like a closed. It's like an arena.
Right. It's kind of like that.
It's like a circular thing that bikes can just can go around and around, and then they race through it. Right.
That's correct. So that I'd say back to your question, like when did I first find out about fixed gear bikes? Let's date it like around 2008. 2009. And yes, it started from seeing beautiful bodies on the beach. Yeah, okay, yeah. We're living in California here, and it's like, it's hot, like even during winter, and they're riding. Okay, the ritual back then at home was like wake up super early in the morning, 3:00, go to the mountain, go snowboarding.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you have breakfast, you go snowboarding, and then like by lunchtime
That's
you
what
come.
you were doing?
Yeah, you come back down, and then you pick up your bike, or you just walk to the beach, and then you stay at the beach, and then you do the dinner thing, the late lunch and early dinner. So
Okay.
so that's kind of like the thing, and then as it grew on me, like some friends would be like, "Hey, let's go to a bar and like go on. Asa man ta magkita? This bar somewhere like along the beach." And I'm like, "Well, that's really nice, kay. I can just come over there on my bicycle." And then it became like a tradition where like the bikes would go bar hopping, and then my friends that were like, let's say, dependent on cars. They would be at a disadvantage finding parking space because I'm already there, either waiting for them, I'm already having a drink or some snacks, and then again, exposed to the sunset, and then having like beautiful beach bodies, blondies, and redheads and like brunettes and whatever, you name it. The culture is there, but not to focus on the women. Yes, that was one of the things. It's like of course, if women ride with you, then or it's vice versa. You ride with the women, and you get to know like the culture and like another immersion of like what's happening. Then you get to know that culture a little bit deeper through engaging like the lifestyle. So when we look at it like here now, the lifestyle is kind of like literally just a glimpse. Like you only see the bike, diba? You only see the bike, and it's usually young guys riding it. Mostly guys. Good. I would have to say like the population in Cebu or even in Manila.
For like fixed gear riders, mostly guys.
Quite possibly out of like the populace, maybe 5% or even slightly less than that is women. And then the women don't even ride that often, so they're kind of like unicorns in a bunch of like horses, diba?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it's like that in a lot of like niches. Like, like it, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're into something, like even out of, well, here in the Philippines, like I remember, katong over the Holy Week ba to? November 1 to kanana, and then
okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then lipay kay ko ba bis kanang going to the cemetery. Diba traffic magkaayo?
Yeah, because there's so many cars.
Yeah, so my wife's like, "Oh, why not we bike?" Uy, then,
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
then
you
I was
guys
like,
bike?
"Uy, sige." I mean, this is the first time she went on a bike since who knows when, no?
That's
But, like,
amazing.
But like nalipay rasad ko. I mean, it's probably only 2 kilometers away, but it was a good. I mean, ako nalingaw ko, but yeah, I can attest to how rare it is.
Yeah, yeah. And did you take your kid with you or something?
No. My kids are like 1 and 3.
See, that's the perfect time to mold them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When I had my children here at home, they had like toys that were like bicycle related, and then obviously like things that are made in China. Most of the product that comes into the Philippines that are from China, kind of like
They break.
it's just like weather na lang kung maguba ba ni or kanus. It's not about like but anyways, 1 to 3 is like the best time to mold them. You make an imprint on your children, and then you embed them with your ideas. Hopefully the good ideas.
Yeah.
And then you take them out. You just take them out. So don't be afraid of that, guy. Actually, I have like a bike carrier for my kids.
Ah, okay.
Right. So
Like it's like you put it on the back.
that's correct.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So, I bought that online and then installed it, and then, immediately the kids knew what it was. I didn't even have to describe what it was. Like they just said, "Oh, Daddy, we're gonna go on a bike ride." And then the mommy was like, what do you mean you're taking them on a bike ride?" And then I showed her like what I put on the bicycle, and then the name Daddy Bike and Mommy Bike came to surface, when the fixed gear bike boys would come here, they're like, "Oh my God, that's such a cool bike, kuya. Imong dadon yung mga bata." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course, we're gonna go to SRP tomorrow."
Amo ba?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So like,
I've seen some of those. I've never tried using. It's like a plastic chair type with
right.
straps, right?
It's kind of a quick release feature. Like you could take it out and put it back on, like quite easily, actually. And then they're hard to come by locally. But
Where'd you get it? Yeah, that's
since it was online, it was like a Facebook, like buy and sell thing, and then they got it from, I don't know, like. It wasn't really clear if it was a surplus store or kind of like a Daiso, ganit. And then when I asked them, is it like a Daiso, like a Japanese, like like a thrift store? And he's like, no, it's not that. It's like, but eventually I got it with very little haggling. Kay I don't really like to haggle, and that's one thing. Let's talk about that also. When people are buying and selling here in the Philippines, what the F, man? Have shame on yourselves. You want something, and then like you want it for nothing, and then
like then they'll be like, oh, we'll buy it right now, and then like 50% off the original.
Yeah, it's like,
price that you
please go get a gun, put it in your mouth, and then pull the trigger. For those people that are like really like like barat. Please just go ahead and commit suicide, all of you.
My kid by. So what we did is we bought him like those push bikes.
Yeah,
yeah. 2 wheels.
Right.
And then and then without the pedals. So he really enjoys it. And
that's a good thing.
Yeah, so I'm actually really excited for him to get to an age where we can buy a legit small bike na for him.
Yeah.
And then really just go out and go cycling, Yeah, bahala lang ba? Yeah, I mean, that's what we did with so my 3-year-old right now, he uses that push bike. He was before
which
coming.
area do you live by again? I forget.
We live in Mandaue. Fortunately, we have a garage, a garden. Like, there's some space for him to just go around.
Okay. Well, anyways, with something like that, if you're in that area, I think like some schools or even like I don't know if there's any parks by that area again.
No, a lot of people like just bike in Sem Park.
Yeah,
Sem Park is good though. Like, I mean, I don't go there. I don't like to bike for exercise unless, I mean, I do bike for exercise, but I'd rather go and explore.
Okay.
Cebu, bay.
But if you're with your children, yeah, Sem Park would be great.
Sem Park
if you're gonna visit someone over there that resides in Sem Park, resting in peace. Just go there at like kuan ka ng respectable hours. Kay sometimes the freaks come out at night also over there. But right now we're talking about bicycles and family and stuff like that. But let's go back to the fixie thing real quick. When it came down a while ago, in regards that I was struggling as one of the people would say you were the only fixed gear rider since 2010
in Cebu,
right?
So wait, is it fair to say you were the one who you didn't see any fixed gear bikes here?
No, I was looking for a year until I found the second person.
Mo ba?
Yeah. So it was really like a struggle.
What did you find?
It was like through the BMX community, and then another friend was like, "Oh yeah, kato siya kaning naapod siya parehas imong bike," and then puti pud, and then one day, it's like we eventually met. That was like I would have to say June 12th, actually 2011.
No, why do you know the date?
Because it's so pivotal. Because we became like almost like instant, like 2-piece in a pod. Ganing. It's like, boy, you have the same bike as me. What the F? So let's make a group. It's just 2 of us. Mura yung mga buang ba? Unsaon na ito pagpadaghan? And then like, so he was like with the BMX bikes, and then he was the only fixie, and then I'm the only fixie with a whole bunch of like longboarders, gani, and then rollerbladers, and like a different community that I was with. Pero the following day, it was actually like then that okay, June 12 was like Independence Day. Is that correct? Mora, you'll have to just
whoa.
double check it. So, anyways, there was this movement called Road Revolution, where it became
yeah, that
such
was
a pivotal part in the.
2011?
Yeah, that's correct. Like
Dude, I remember that. Yeah, and
where we, including myself, guilty, and then with pleasure, we closed Capitol site, Jones, and then Fuente, and then all the way down to Colon, and then from Colon all the way to Plaza Independencia.
were you part of the organizing group?
Yes. And then I'll gladly say yes now, because you know what? Even then, I was so proud that we closed the streets instead of just sinulog, huh? Closing down like partial street.
That was
like
really fun.
Yeah. So with that, people were calling us names like you guys are crazy and this and that, and then you guys don't know what you're doing. So now, the
No, but
haters.
it should be noted that that road revolution. So, I mean, a lot of people with cars complain, rightfully so, because they're not used to
Right.
they're used to owning the roads. But the people who came out of that, I had friends who were like longboarders, skateboarders, cyclists. There were like guys with they made their own like electric.
Yes.
Did you see that little electric vehicle that
Yeah.
they were going around and people
Yeah.
were walking the streets, and it was a really good vibe.
And that whole culture is like the most positive vibe I've ever like seen a glimpse of California since having arrived in the Philippines. So you can imagine like, eco-friendly thinking. Maybe it's not pushed through so quickly here in Cebu, but that group is definitely thriving on its own. Like we've gone our own different like paths in life. Like some people are pushing through their agriculture. Some people are doing their solar panel. It became like a hobby obsession, and then it became a little bit more professional as the solar, let's say, alternative energy source became better built, like the panels itself. And then
I have an
so
uncle who uses solar
I've
energy.
continued like with the biking community, and then
So you were pushing for like bike as a commute, I suppose.
yeah, it's like zero emissions other than what you fart. Ang imong
Yeah.
utot maura na emissions, di ba?
But for me, Baiba, I'll tell you. So the reason why I got into cycling is I'm happy that it's eco-friendly, etc., etc. But I'm gonna tell you, like my main purpose for it was that it was just efficient in a way. So a little background. So maybe 2 years, 3 years ago, I would have a long ride every week. I'd go to Minglanilla or something, and then
Right.
I'd be on the road. There were days I'd be on the road 2 or 3 hours per way.
That's correct.
Yeah, and I'm from Mandaue.
Correct.
So I was on the road 2 to 3 hours per day, and then at some point I was like, wow, I'm just wasting my time.
Mauna din ha, like you said, wasting your time. You live how you want to live.
Yeah.
And then it's supposed to be convenient, but again, just like the movie Inconvenient Truth, it's so inconvenient that truly you are stuck in traffic. You are the traffic. Pero if you either walked, skateboarded, or pedaled, then you become moving traffic. So you're still some sort of traffic, diba? So the inconvenience about it, it's dusty. Okay, daghan kayong, I don't know, like
It's dusty. It's hot.
yeah, it's hot.
You're
And
gonna sweat no matter what.
it's there's the smog from the really nice, clean Jeeps that we have over here, and the private vehicles with red plates.
It's definitely not for everybody, but my thinking is I value more speed and efficiency, and also by the way, not bad exercise doing
Correct.
biking from point A to point B. I've never been this fit in my life.
Okay.
No. So kanang it's so like if you value I feel like if you value like fine, some people like my wife, she will value comfort and then that so she'll use a car.
Ah,
But
okay.
if I want to get to a place like fast, and then bahala na, I get there sweaty, it's fine. Working on, and I feel like there's a lot of people who fall in that category, especially if you work in an office with a shower
That's correct.
or
And anyways, through that road revolution thing again, we were pushing for bike lanes,
yeah.
and then a few years later, it had eventually been written and approved through local government. But there is a but. Everything here in the Philippines kind of has like a pero na amanggoy something else. So we'll not elaborate on that too much. Pero I'm glad that the duration of my advocacy to push for bike lanes came to a reality that it got written down on paper. Okay, again, we're talking about like commuting and then like the health and then the fitness. It affects so much like of the population, manggod. Even though right now, you mentioned cyclists going to the office and then hopefully having a shower. Most of the time, like the offices don't have showers, right?
Well, the thing is, you'd be surprised because like these big BPOs.
Well, if you just really think about it, like primitively, when you let's say, I don't know, someone works at a silugan.
Oh yeah, okay,
Right.
Sige.
There's a lababo and there's running water, and then you could buy yourself a labakara, and then if you're commuting, let's say 5 kilometers just to get to work,
Which is really near, by the way, on a
right?
bike.
So 5 kilometers is literally only like 3 miles. Let's just put it like
5
that.
kilometers is probably Mandaue, AS Fortuna to Lahog, like
Right.
JY.
AS
Somewhere
Fortuna to JY.
there. Somewhere there.
Then you get the smog, getting Anuo sa Tambucho, and then you got like the road construction, which is never ending, and then so there's Abog, and then you have like the tropical climate, humidity, and then like sometimes it rains. So by the time that you get 5 km, you're like murag imong lawas galapok.
Yeah.
So if you work at like a silugan or like some food joint, there's like running water, there's some soap, and you can wash yourself, diba?
Yeah.
So hopefully like people that are like commuting from Minglanilla to IT Park, and then I know like some boys that are like from Liloan to Pardo. It's like so weird. They're like hooked on like cycling. And then someone stopped by like a couple of months ago. His mountain bike had broken down. And I respect the guy so much because like what had happened was he works in, let's say, Mandaue or Consolacion. It was already 6 or 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. He showed up in the garage, looking for help, like, can you fix this and that? I'm like, yeah, sure. And immediately, he's a construction worker of some sort. Ano siya? Kanang, bay, wala ba kayo kuan kanang kwarta? Muhapit lang ko ni mo direct balik. And I'm like, okay. Asa man di ka padung? Padung ko uli. That's what he answered. I'm like, yeah, all right. Where are you going home? Kuan ba yan ang uli pag San Fernando? Wow.
Oh, mo ba? Wow. I think he does that every day.
He does that every day. I'm like, unsa man nagpadung ka dito mo uli or gikan ka sa trabaho mo uli? And then so come to find out, he does that thing literally every day. Okay, mo lagi he could only afford a bicycle. And then he figures that he would have exercise. He actually had no money that he thought he needed to pay me. Because what he thought I would charge was like, like a shop charge. And then I look at the guy, I'm like, well, how much do you have anyway? He's like, oh, not with 250. I'm like, well, actually for the stuff that you're, that we need to do for your bicycle, you just need to buy the parts. And then luckily, that day, his friend had given him a part to replace on his bike, which was the thing that broke.
What broke? I'm just curious.
That was the bottom bracket. It's where the cranks
wow,
go
so
in.
he got a bottom.
Yeah,
His friend, he just happened to have a bottom bracket.
Yeah. So it must have
Oh.
been his day. So ako lang ikwenta nga kuan ba nang pay it forward gani nga. Graces come to me, so I'll pay it forward, and then like ano lang ko nga, kuya. I call him kuya na lang kay like it's like his face was so haggard and like I'm pretty sure he was younger than me, but just out of respect I'm like kuya, kanang kuan lang, let's just buy some soft drinks and then we'll enjoy it together. So he didn't spend more than 50 pesos.
Oh yeah.
And then he got us drinks and like we just spoke a little bit just to get to know each other. Okay, it was maybe like about 10 minutes work, and then what's 10 minutes work out of my time in comparison to him, like having to go find someone that will help him.
Yeah.
And then pangwartahan ba siya maayo. So I'm all like, you told me your story, this and that, and then like, hapit na lang ko diri, kanang puhon kanang nga mag check up lang ko sa imong bike, or if you should ever be around in the area, kay mao magid na imong ruta from like San Fernando to Lasyon, back and forth. Or actually, no, it was Pitos, Talamban.
He's going
so
there.
I don't know exactly how far that is over there, but it's pretty far.
It's
I know.
nearer than Lasyon, but yeah, layo gihapon.
Yeah. So, long story short, fixed his bike. We found out where he lives and what he does, and then like he doesn't have so much money, and then he wasn't expecting
The construction worker, gid siya.
Yeah, something like that, or like a janitor, something like that. So, with that said, I helped him out, and then he wasn't expecting, so he still gave me a tip. I'm like, well, basin kinahanglan na nimo para kung ma-flat ka, ana po siya. No, na ako daghang tapak. Okay, delete na ka ikyas ani. So anyway, so he gave me 50 pesos. So and he was on his merry way. Great. So again, going back to this thing where it's like you commute and then you're stuck in traffic, and then maybe sometimes it's like convenient nga naay aircon ang sakyanan, versus you being on the road and then gasingot ka, and then murag either you're challenged by the weather, while in the car you're just like kauwan nun, and then while you're in the bike you're like, oh my god, kauwan nun, asa ko magpasilong ani.
Yeah, that happened to me last night.
Right.
Man.
So what time? Like mga
gabi before dinner.
Okay, right. Right. Okay. Mga 7 actually. I was late for an appointment. So and then luckily, anyways, we'll touch base on that rain thing again. So anyways, you're commuting somewhere. Let's say you're commuting back home, or you're commuting to your office, or going to visit a friend somewhere further than maybe 5 kilometers. Maghuna-huna yung sa weather aspect, and then the speed of the road aspect, and then like the road closures or construction aspect, and then the safety aspect. There's so many things. Well, in the car, you're just thinking, okay, I'm just gonna get in the car, drive, or have someone drive me, and then I'll just pay them this and that. So the offset is so much positivity when it comes to biking. You don't really need to bike fast.
Yeah.
It's like none of us, seriously, we're in the Philippines. Maybe only 1% of the populace can and have the strength like people in Tour de France. So who are we kidding, really?
You're comparing you're comparing commuter to Tour de France.
Exactly. Because, there's so many people actually gonna be like, yeah, so fast. I'm like, yeah, you're fast now because you're young. Wait till you get to my age. Yeah. So anyways, like, when you're, okay, people are thinking, it's like, yeah, we have to hurry. Why do they need to hurry?
Actually, you're faster even if you go really slow. That's the thing.
That's the point. Pero, you're in the Philippines, natakdan tas mga Espanyola. It's like, mañana. So, it's like, you're supposed to be at work at 9. You wake up at 8:45. Kaya magbike ka. And then you're eventually late. So, you're there at like 9:05. Okay. Magdali pa kagligo, mag-ilis or something like that. And then there's like, something about traffic. But if you're in a car, then you're like, oh, na ako'y car. And then it's like, okay, you wake up at 8:30 to try to get to work at 9, and then you hit the same traffic, and then you're there at 9:30. You're still late.
But that story about you, kanang that guy who came in here with his mountain bike and the guba. It made me think, actually, because the bike as a form of transportation, Tinora, it's really cheap compared to
Sure is.
compared to a lot of other options. And then I was thinking about it because when you were talking, I remember going to I still go to Minglanilla
What's over there?
once. I
Family and
na ako
stuff like
isweldo nga tao basically.
okay.
I basically use it as an excuse to go 40 kilometers in a day. No? Just
Yeah.
exercise.
I know
ba?
some people that are like that.
So, but like go in the morning, and then I noticed, like on my way back, there are there are like pickups, like literally a pickup, and then these are private vehicles, and then they pick up people on the road,
Yeah, okay.
like a jeepney.
Right.
And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, wow, there must be so little options for a lot of people who live in the outskirts to go to the city.
Right.
And then then that reminded me of that when you're talking about that guy who stopped here. And I was like, wow, if all of these guys just brought bicycles,
Yep.
it might be easier. And then I understand the apprehension also for cycling or just cycling as commute because it can be kind of scary for a regular person,
Yeah.
no? But that's like a whole case for the regular Cebuano, regular Filipino. Nga, maybe we should start really thinking about, pushing government to do
Dun 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 dun.
bike lanes, that sort of thing, or just make it design the city for people and not cars anymore, ba?
Well, let's do this a matter of fact thing. Fact, the roads were built for people first.
Like downtown, yeah.
Just in
Probably.
general.
Oh,
Back in the day, there were
yeah,
no
yeah,
cars,
that's right.
diba? Except for like the American or whatever that arrived here with their war jeeps, the unsa na mga JPs or something like that. Katong mga karaan.
the jeepney.
All right.
Well, yeah.
And then, so, first and foremost, the roads were built for human. It's like human traffic. Really human trafficking. Halayan na po na. Pero,
Like, yeah, if you look at old photos, it's
Right.
people on the roads.
it's people on the roads walking. And you know how healthy those people were? Very healthy. Now, and then, you could see some of those photos. They're like dequilio and then naapay mga necktie, huh?
Yeah, they're wearing suits.
Now you could barely wear sando and not sweat outside.
And then also a lot of the dust and it's because of the cars.
Exactly. How much dust can a horse and buggy or aka tartanilla kick up, diba? Not much. And then if you just really think about it, now we're in like the commercialism stage of I don't know, like of the country where it's like trade comes in from all over the world, but predominantly China made the world, and so many things that come in, like more cars, more motor scooters. Okay, let me please correct these people over here. Kanang inyong mga motor din ha, nga it's not 600cc. If it's below that, it's a scooter. Okay? Please, it's a scooter. It's so weird. Okay? Well, okay, maybe we could lower it to like 450. Like motor tinga na siya, pero it's like really it's still a scooter. And then walay basagan ng trip. It's their form of transportation, but I really dislike the Bora Bora.
What's Bora Bora?
Nag super loud tambucho and the exhaust systems.
Yeah. Maybe they do that on purpose, diba? That's like
It's kind of like,
thing.
their own thing. Like we ride fixies, we ride bicycles. They like to ride loud motor scooters, and then they call it motor because that's what's been handed down. There's really nothing wrong with that unta kung dili kay nila gitik-gitikon sa syudad ang kanang pagpatingog sa tambutso. So that's like sound pollution,
Oh, yeah.
noise pollution. So when we're on a bicycle, we don't really have too much carbon dioxide footprint. We don't take so much space on the road, and then let's see. It takes us less time to get to one place to the next. Like, for instance, your commute from Mandaue to Minglanilla in a transport is sometimes 3 hours.
Yeah.
I normally do from Sikatuna to Minglanilla proper 40 minutes, you know? And then if
I think the first time I did it, so my fitness wasn't even there yet. The first time I did it, I think it was an hour 30.
well, that's still not bad.
Yeah, and then yeah, but then I've been able to cut that significantly. I mean, just also knowing, like, instead of leaving in the middle of the day, leave at 5 or
Right,
6.
right.
And then I can cut that to less than an hour now from
Right.
Mandaue.
So, mauna din ha nga, it's like
It's fun.
when people are like, so focused na nanay motor, kaya naka-asenso na, pero utang di ay, naka-loan di ay, and then nanay sakyanan, pero living like a squatter di ay, pero na aircon ha, ang ilahang balay. So it's like, I don't see like the logic with these people. Gani nga, it's like
They're overspending.
See,
Because cars are expensive.
They have cars nga they cannot afford, and it's like I have bicycles that they cannot even afford.
With so ever since I started commuting, so diba, my main purpose was I didn't want to waste so much time. But the other benefit that I realized very quickly was I wasn't spending on my car anymore.
Exactly.
So,
You spend that on food, right?
well, no, go to my kids' college fund.
Yeah,
But
okay.
no, but
See, at least you're one of the few that are thinking of college funds, huh? Most of the time, people here are like Waldas, like one day millionaire.
Yeah. No, but anyway, so the car buy. So I remember I spend a lot less on gas. So gas is the most obvious thing, right?
Right. Unsa man ang imuhang car, kaning gasolina or crudo?
Diesel. I have a Hilux.
That's amazing. When will like the liter of kaning unsa nga ning diesel become 100? Because I'm really waiting for that. I'm really waiting for
that
that.
doesn't happen.
I really hope that that's gonna happen. Good guy.
Well, everything else will shoot in price if the gas goes up to 100.
Exactly, and not to be a pessimistic about life, but more on realism. Like again, when people approach me like old school cyclists, dong naa kay ngonaning nga pisa. Naabi ako ya. Kuan kaning mauning nga price. Ano yun? Hala, ha? Kamahal ko na good. And I'm thinking, Kuya, where can you find this part? Why did you ask me? How did you find me? And then why are you asking me for the price? You're interested to like buy something that doesn't exist anymore? And then pero kung nag-exist siya, like for instance, like fossil fuel, if there was such an abundance that you could replicate that all the time,
which you can't replicate, by the way. It's
right.
just abundant right now.
Right. Moana na lang ko nga, Kuya, kung kani presyo sa unang panahon was like a certain amount of zeros. Let's just try to understand that each decade you add a zero na lang ha to like bring you up to speed. Kay we were not at your time nga 5 centavos will get you to school and lunch and back home. Ngayon ana, pero at that point in time they were like walking 2 kilometers to school and back, and then kaning mga karaang tao nga like my lolos. Oh my God, they went through so much crap, and then now we're going through a different kind of crap. Okay, now it's transit problem. It's a nuisance. So, when it comes to really like the biking community, we're kind of flexible. Okay, unlike motor scooters, they're so heavy that you can't really just lift it.
Oh yeah.
You have to ride it onto the gutter, which most of them do, especially when they're stuck in traffic. Kanang bisag asa lang manglusot ba kanang there's no discipline. But even with the cyclists that don't have discipline, at least ang ilahang burden is like manaog lang sa bike, alsahon ng bike sa gutter, and then you go on the gutter where you share it with the pedestrian.
I'll go to a sidewalk.
Yeah,
You mean a
exactly.
sidewalk,
Yeah,
not a gutter.
the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So, and then, it's the he said, she said thing again, nga maglalis nga ang bike, ingon ana, and then, the two-wheeled motorized community, motor scooters, motorcycle, and then versus like cars and trucks and things like that. It becomes gani like a racist level almost nga kanang nakaisakyanan ikay hari sa kuan sa karsada, especially if it's like the 10-wheelers. And they're really not, they just look so super big, like Megatron, diba? And then you have like the Hiluxes, nga dagko nga sakyanan, and then like mga Grandias or something like that. So the smaller you get, the less important you become on the road. Gani murag yung ana nga mentality.
That's the perception.
That's the perception, and then I'm just like, wow, that's so backwards. If you really think about it, who drives the prime movers katong 10-wheelers? Diba it's a worker? More than likely, sometime there's a big chance that working person rode a bicycle to work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, diba? And then, however, when you get to like these V-hire vans and now they're V-hire, they're still working. They're probably picked up by their like V-hire friends from wherever they live. So maybe they're commuting by bike seldom, or on their rest day na lang. And then you have the private vehicles, personally owned, like mga kasagaran, like snot-nosed people ba nga na anang murag hilas na kaya nga ano ga bike man mo samok-samok mo sa kasada, and it's like they don't ever understand why we bike. Okay, we don't want to get to their level of kaning inconvenience. Okay, there's gas, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and then the other thing I was going to say that I saved on is maintenance in the car.
Right, so that's
the less
oil
you use
change,
your car,
the tire change.
or just things breaking down. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And then it breaks down because the roads here in the Philippines or in Cebu city or even the outskirts of is not really designed properly for cars.
No. I think cars by nature at some point
They will deteriorate.
yeah deteriorate. So the more you use a car, if you buy a car right now, you're less likely to have to maintain it in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. But the longer you have it and then the more you use it, the more likely you are to have to spend for maintenance. All sorts of things have broken on my Hilux. The suspension, the aircon, the something in the dashboard. The dials don't move anymore.
Okay. So that's like almost 1,000 per piece that you mentioned already. Minimum.
It's expensive. Wow, like. My bike that I came here with, there was one time that I spent I don't know, I forgot what was wrong with it, but maybe I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 20K. My bike is not anywhere worth that much. It's so much cheaper than that.
Yeah, it's so much cheaper than that. The value is so much more than a car.
Oh yeah. Like I like my bike so much more than my car.
So that's kind of like the flip side of it, banga. It's like you devaluate the person riding a bicycle, kay the other person judging at them. They have a car and they don't even own, kay they're working for an amo as a driver.
Do you feel that?
Yeah, I feel that all the time. Like even from family. Like sometimes nga kuya nganong naam ka dinha nganong wala man kay sakyanan maka-afford man ka ana lang ko nga yes I can afford but I'd rather eat comfortably and like travel light.
Cars are expensive.
And then like for instance when we're comparing let's see here consumption, if I go to Mingla on a bicycle I barely even have to drink. I'll go over there, like eat some snacks, usually like banana Q or something, kanang native turon or something on my way back. Puto or sekwate. What is that? 20 pesos? But when I'm commuting, and when the jeepney fares do go up, then that from here to Minglanilla, it's roughly about 20 pesos one way.
To commute?
Yeah.
Is it? Via
Jeep.
Jeep?
Yeah.
Not by Jeep, straight to Minglanilla?
No. It's like, what is that? 2 rides.
Okay.
So that's going to be 2 rides. So by the time I come back, it's going to be anywhere from 30 to 40 pesos. And then again, dealing with the time factor that you mentioned earlier, nga, okay.
Oh, the jeeps are super slow for sure.
Yeah, because napay hunong, man, wa pa kakibaw kung na disgrasya, and then again, going back to the motorcycles going on the sidewalk, you could just maneuver around, a lot of things on a bicycle. Kung ma-stuck up ang ka in between 2 cars and you're not comfortable in that zone, nga, basin maipit ka while you're stopped, you get off the bike and guruyo nimo where you're safe, di ba? Ang motorcycle, dili man na nimo maalsa.
Yeah,
so
they have a harder time.
It's a harder time. Now, again, like these people that are commuting in transit, they think usually it's easier. Maybe they have so much money, or in their head that they have money.
I mean, some people really do have money.
Right.
I'm thinking, I think a lot of people don't realize the cost of the car.
Yeah. I mean,
The time
again,
cost and the monetary cost.
if guys like us, people like us, we have families, obviously we want to have take them out to the mall sometime, right? Or to the park or somewhere nga na magsuroy. So I managed for almost the entirety of my 8-year stay in the Cebu without a car. I had a Star X at one point in time.
Oh, yeah?
And I hated it. Why? Ganahan kayo mo adto Ayala, ihas pa ko Ayala, and then all these other malls kay adto lagi dito makig-standby ang ako ang mga friends. And then these are just friends really vulturing you for a ride to go to Ayala because that's where you're going, or even family, fake family, fake friends. Then you can differentiate the type of people that you meet. Gani, they don't know. Okay, it's my time to go to Ayala, but they want to get dropped off somewhere close to Ayala, but they don't even put in hey kuya or parts ay 20 para sa imong parking. Diba? It's just oy, salamat ha. Sunod na pod. It's fuck you. Sunod, there's gonna be no such thing as sunod because I'm gonna block your ass. Ba? And then you get into Ayala, diba? You park, you pay.
Yeah.
That's why I like to go to SM better. Okay, it's free.
No, you pay na now.
Oh, on the lower katong sa gawas.
Yeah. Sa gawas wala
Yeah.
no payment.
So it's always free. Kaso lang, magtuyo-tuyo pa ka, and then you need to find parking. So unless you want to be in the covered parking, then you pay. So I hated that because people tend to take advantage for the convenience that you bring them when you have a transport. Pero now that I have a bicycle, it's less to be pwede mo angkas? It's no. No.
Yeah,
This is if you were super fine and hot and not my relative, yes, maybe. Pwede ka mo angkas, pero only up to that corner over there. You know.
Me when we go out, for me, I use the car for when we have the kids,
Right.
with the wife. That's when I use the car.
But then let me ask you. There's so many taxis in Cebu. If we're just looking for to commute, let's say Maligog Dagat at somewhere like Marigondon or somewhere in Mactan, which I don't really enjoy the ocean over there because it's so polluted. Okay, it's 300 pesos to go over there on a taxi. If it's traffic, let's just say it's about that, and then back and forth 600. So you have 2 kids, your wife, maybe a helper, myself. So the kids automatically don't count as adults, diba? So pwede pa gani 4 adults and 3 kids.
Yeah.
Madala pa sa taxi. Pero when it comes bigger people, then they count it as an adult. So dili bawal na. So you could actually literally take in comfort a family of 6
On a cab.
In a taxi cab, and then coming back, same thing, and it's the same hassle. If I'm driving, liman ka since I practice the discipline of driving 10 and 2. It's like what we've been taught at the DMV back in the US.
What does
It's
that
like,
mean?
ang imuhang hands on the steering wheel is
yeah.
at 10 o'clock
And 2 o'clock.
and 2 o'clock.
So both hands on the wheel.
Right. Both hands on the wheel, and then like someone will be answering your text or phone calls for you, or nobody's answering that for you at all. Here it's like multitasking and then multi-accidents, diba? So that's the thing. And then somebody is driving you somewhere and you just pay them. It's the same thing as spending gas money to go over there and coming back. But you're not stuck in your head. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to kill myself in this traffic. Okay. Ano ka? This was supposed to be a fun day, and it's like, this one is killing my vibes right now. Makahuna-huna na lang ka nga. May na lang tag pwede ni i-bike diri tanan, no?
You know, I remember having katong napay Grab and Uber.
Well, there's still Grab car.
There's still Grab, yeah. But anyway, no, but like I was saying, it's like, I remember having this conversation with my wife, nga murag, you know, I wonder if we're at the point nga here in Cebu nga we can get by. At the time I wasn't biking yet. I wasn't cycling, so I was thinking about alternatives. Clearly,
okay.
You know? So I was like, I wonder if you can get by nga not using a car anymore. I was doing the math in my head. Like, okay, let's say if you're working in IT Park, for example. So if you have to bring a car, you can get a cab, go to pamantoy Angkas at the time also.
Right.
Yeah, so because Angkas now is super cheap. And then but you can go get a Grab, go to IT Park and then come back. And then I wonder if it's cheaper now than owning a car. No?
If you live properly and know how to balance, you know, I drop the emphasis on balance, kay people again like one day millionaire lifestyle ba? Like people will take taxis when it's like payday and then like go to wherever they need to go to be happy, and then the next day they're poor. Okay, wala ila lang giwalda. So I will emphasize on the balance. Balance is everything. Like you can definitely live off the land using Grab and Angkas and then the jeepneys and then the regular taxis, offsetting it from purchasing a gubaon nga or something with a defective something in a second-hand car. Because we're even talking second-hand car. It's not a brand new car. And then it's still a 50% nga makapalit ka og good second-hand car unless it's from someone you know that really takes care of their property, like or versus nataghapan lang ani adugag dealership and then it's brand new car but it's a lemon. There's something wrong with the computer, you know. So but that seldom happens with brand new cars, diba? So again, let's just compare this like second-hand car to living off like Grab and thing and the
basically
jeepney.
the public transportation.
Yeah. So it's totally doable. You need to go around the island. There's buses. You need to go through like different barangays that are like 30 km away. There's still KMK, V-hires, vans, or even taxis that will take you that far.
But you know, going back to katong when I saw like kanang these pickups just picking up people in Minglanilla ba, I think there should be more. I think like during rush hour, I think there might not be as many as there should be. You get what I'm saying? Like you see it all the time. Like,
I see it. Okay? Especially at these areas, the entry and exit points of SRP, depending coming or going from, usually they're like daily workers from the provinces that they come to the city to sell their items, like maybe fruits or something. Pero it's dangerous. You know, they're in an open pickup truck in the back. Right. So they're sacrificing their health kay being outside in the elements kung mag-ulan, and then they're just gonna be out there, and then the danger factor of it is like they're normally going through SRP, and then may mga kurbada din ha, and then whether the driver of that certain car or truck that they're driving in is driving properly, most likely not. And the stretch between Star Mall to unsay nga aning Pier
Gesano
Uno,
Capital?
right?
Pier Uno.
Yeah,
Oh, the whole SRP stretch.
yeah, the whole SRP, or even like from Star Mall to SMC side.
Okay.
Those are drop off points that I see all the time, and then these pickup trucks are moonlighting, sidelining.
Mona, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they're not accountable for anyone if someone falls off the car.
Oh, dick kid.
Oh, wala. Nagbiyaan na lang to. Okay, wala. Like, the baggage fell off. Yeah, and then mura na lang mahugog MU ba, but life is not about mutually understood circumstance. It's like, it's a life. Now, going back to like that whole system nga, okay, maybe yun nga, lahat nga itong co-worker nga they need to go to downtown, nga they live in this area, it's a pickup point, blah blah blah, but highly unlikely it's not. Pero that's become the culture of like hitching gani. So
yeah, well, that just got me thinking. Maybe kuwang gyud ang public transpo in terms of volume, but in terms of the number of.
Yeah, I would have to say that, but however, accessible is the key word. Accessible public transportation. Mauna siya kay in the US, you have like a student discount card. Like you just show the bus driver, and then instead of paying $2, you pay $1. Piso na diri sa tuwa, no? They live by $1 at a time, and then here it's 1 peso at a time. So even though the currency is so much more over there, equivalent to what we have over here, there's a public, like accessible public transportation for everyone. They can ride a bus, and even at that, like sometimes there's like a free shuttle from one place to the next. Nga maura na iyang ruta, and then that's by like that.
Yeah, the
particular
SM
cities. That, yeah. It's not like a business related anything from what I know of. It's just like city to city transport. Yeah. Not in Cebu, but like back in LA. Okay. Pero I think here it's like it's SM related. It's like the My Bus.
Yeah, they used to have. I'm not sure if it's still the free shuttle. But for sure, there was a time that it was free, certain routes.
I believe from Fuente Osmeña in front of BDO to SMC side it is.
Moto.
And I think from SMC side to borderline Mingla is or like Lawaan Tres or something like basta borderline.
Like there's like there's a bus station there near Minglanilla. There's like a House of Lechon.
Yeah, that's station. The My Bus.
Yeah,
so I think from SMC side to there is a certain fee. I'm not sure. I've only ridden the My Bus from Fuente to SM one time, and then so that was actually quite nice. You know,
it looks nice.
That should be available in a jeepney form. Pero like here man good in a typical jeep, manaog ka literally at your front door. Like almost like a taxi service, but imagine mo ana hapakon din ang kilid sa kuan ba jeep sa conductor. Oy sikiti na 20-20 or 18 or unsa pa na din ha kanang per side gani, and then mura na mog sardinas, di ba?
Yeah.
Imagine like each and every stop there's a pick up or a drop off. So and people don't have really the discipline where to ride.
People just they get dropped off. Actually, that's an issue with the jeepneys because they can just drop them off anywhere.
Right.
Like I've seen jeepneys in the middle of the road, they'll stop.
And then that was part of my advocacy from like 2011 to 2014. So that was 3 years that I invested as a volunteer. Like I invested my time to try and help like the local government become transport able. Kay it's naka-experience ko nga I had road rage when I had my Starex. And then kay tungod lagi sa road rage, then I got into a physical confrontation with someone na
That's never a good idea.
well, then, it was like some Chinese businessman that he thought he owned the road, and I like yanked him out of his car out of like the heat of the moment. And then in hindsight, ano lang ko, shit, not gonna ever drive. So we got rid of the car.
Really? Was that the catalyst of you getting rid of the car?
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, if people cannot drive properly, like I'm used to back in Los Angeles, then if I'm going to adapt to become a Filipino, I'm just going to avoid this one thing so that I don't either kill someone or get myself killed. Okay. I just figured nga, murag yung ko ganang niulbong kaspa, local term, or like nibukal akong dugo, high blood. As in, gibunlot yun ako sa sakyanan ng tao.
Pero, so you mentioned like you were doing some efforts to help the public transportation system. Is that in related to kanang like critical mass Cebu? Like I noticed that came out when you.
That definitely comes up because that's a culture in Los Angeles that we
what
have.
is critical mass?
Critical mass is basically en massing like different kinds of like bike riders or alternative transport, whether it's like roller skate, blade, or longboard, or just regular skateboard. It's like zero footprint transport, and then it started in San Francisco like sometime like I think in like the 80s, late 80s or something, and then it became like a tradition. Like
it's like
every month that they will meet up and then gubuto nilang syudad.
It's like a long bike ride with a lot of people.
Sometimes it's not really long, pero because
I mean not long, but like it's
it becomes long. Okay, you cannot really control a swarm of bees like to go into one hole. Like for instance, that there's like 200 riders. That's understating it for a California city like San Francisco or Los Angeles. It will end up having like a swarm of anywhere from 500 to 2,000 riders per month of that night. And then, muadto kag main intersection naman, imuhag yung i-block og tuyo para makita sa mga tao nga this is what like people can do to like stop traffic. Instead of cars stopping traffic, it's going to be the people on bicycles making car culture or petrol motivated culture understand that there's another alternative. So Cebu critical mass is a sliver of kanang takod na lang na siya sa kuan gikan sa LA, which I belong to, and then I tried that over here, and then it became the Advocacy, and then I changed it to a different name nga, like local na lang siya nga, with the other advocates kaning collaboration gani. And then it became so many things, like different types of bicycle clubs.
Amo ba?
Right. So there, if you search it pre-2010, nothing would probably come up as like bicycle clubs more than 3 in Cebu. Like an actual active, like in the city rides, like. I'm sure like the forefront of it was the folding bike community kay sikat man to sikat pa man to ato at that point in time, and then it slowly dwindled off when people started to do mountain bikes, road bikes, and then fixies. Okay, fixies was the last choice that they had because they were not that adventurous, and then that's why there's a stigma nga kani mga fixie boys and girls pagara-gara lang ni sila, pero quite on the contrary, now they have evolved to more disciplined riding, and they will ride with the best of the triathletes that are available that Cebu has to offer. And then that's coming back from like, again, Road Revolution. Then pre-Road Revolution was critical mass. Okay, that's how the Road Revolution people found me as a lead person of the critical mass in Cebu. And so we were already advocating, like, bike lanes and things like that. And shortly after that, then there became like Cebu Vintage Bicycle Club, Cebu Folding Bicycle Club, like BMX officially had their thing, and then like the mountain bike people then got their, like, mountain bike culture. Dili ka ng mountain bike in the city na lang, ka ng pang-commute. So it evolved into so many different clubs, and then obviously like Cebu Fixed Gear was an offshoot of that. Okay, it's a different community. And then from all the exposure of the cycling community, then nag-evolve po go og kaning recycle bikes, like, helping people beautify their bikes to like almost new or similar to new conditions, pero obviously not brand new, kay mopalit sila og second hand, and ayuhon nga simpulon
you
siya.
like refurbish it, like
refurbish
make it look nice.
And then dili lang ka ng pintal gani nga mo dip ka og bucket ng house paint.
Yeah.
Ngayon mo lang i-brush on. No, it's like actually like, powder coated, painted, and then
like kanang nice good.
It's really refurbished or reconditioned.
I almost did that. I off mic I mentioned that I bought a road bike, and
right.
One time I was on my way to Minglanilla na flat ko.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the tools, and then I was just walking. It was so early in the morning. I was walking along around downtown looking for somebody who could kanang
bulkit or something.
And then I ended up in kanang Leon Kilat nga street.
Right, downtown, yeah.
Yeah, and then honestly nalingaw gid ko because there's like.
And that's where it's at, really. Like
second-hand bike parts.
When we get back into the Cebu fixed gear culture, it is literally led or solely inspired from those mechanics that are over in Leon Kilat and Gotchan. Okay. After Road Revolution 2011, 12, 13, I think around like 2012, nakaila na ko ang I would consider him like the pinnacle of like Cebu fixed gear godlike level. He was the Philippine team coach of the track cycling.
What's his name?
Renato Mir.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he just passed away maybe like about a year and a half or two ago. So from getting to know him, nangusog yung og research about other people like him that are Bisaya or Cebuano or taga-diri ra gyud nga local. And then as it turns out, there's so many living legends that still ride, and I ride with in SRP, and it's like, oh my God, I still finding out nga ang basurero diri sa amo ang street, he was a Marlboro tourer. This is like the equivalent of like Tour de France, but like Philippine version.
Mo ba?
Yeah. So like the mechanics over there, like in Leon Kilat, they were like Marlboro Tour riders. And then obviously from that generation, like again, it was like walking, tartanilla, or you had a private bicycle. So when you had a bicycle, you were like the cat's meow. You were like, chick magnet. So then it became important to them nga nailumba, na sila sponsor, ningon ana, and then naligon sila. They joined the Marlboro Tour. They competed in Manila. So it's like Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao competition. So once I got to know this guy, I was invited to his house. And then, wow, malipong ka nga. There's so many medals and pictures and trophies and like memorabilia of where he went, like international.
Yeah.
Like, now it's considered the ASEAN Games, ASEAN.
Okay.
So
he had a medal from the ASEAN Games.
So many accolades that this guy had, and he was so humble. Like naglibog ko nga, it's like, sir, kanang kagrabe sa imuhang giagian human come to find out ikaw di ang Philippine team coach. Philippine team, not just Cebu coach. That means under him was like the mga Tagalogs, mga Manila, basta Philippine team.
Yeah.
Right? So that's like at a different level. Ano lang ko, proud guy ko kay Bisaya ka. And then, wow, he only lives over here in like Lahug area.
Yeah.
And then from that, I looked at the other pictures. Wala, familiar lagi ng tao. So there, it just spread like wildfire ba. Yeah. Huy, buhi pa ni siya. And then, dong, adto na ni mo makitaan. Mekaniko na siya din sa kaning lugar. And then, basin buhi pa ni siya. Tuan ni siya sa Manila. And then, at the very first days of Cebu Fixed Gear as before it became officially a Cebu Fixed Gear group, it was just Rye Kido looking for fixed gear riders in Cebu. There were like some mysterious people that were in Cebu City or Mingla or Liloan. I never met them in person. Okay, it was like Yahoo chats. Wala pa uso ang kuan na to kaning Messenger 10 years ago. So I confided with the Manila culture. And then even in the Manila culture, I was like first of 50 members. And now they're like 50,000. So I helped build the Manila fixed gear community by giving them the information that I had fresh off the boat from the US, so to speak. Nga, ako'y advice nila kaning mga brand kay naka-sale ni sila karon. I didn't realize that they would take it to heart nga. They will buy containers of it and then nakalit lang siya boom. And then Cebu Fixed Gear was non-existent until after June 12th. So, or June 11th, basta it's like, it was the day after Independence Day, the local Independence Day. It became officially Cebu Fixed Gear of 2 people. So, again, fast forwarding to Renato Mir, Coach Renato Mir, or with them, so proud to be Cebuano, not just Filipino. First of all, it's like the Cebuano side will never die, but maybe the Filipino thing could be, replaced with American culture. So I identify more with that. That's why, like, ang ako ang panghuna-huna sa mga tao, it's like, why is this guy so different? He's so weird. And then why does he deal with bikes and not like have cars? And I'm like, well, this is my lifestyle. This is what I grew up with. You just need to understand that because I already understand your Philippine system and there's some faults that I'd like to help to fix. And then that's why I volunteered like as a advocate. Now, Leon Kilat, I would say half of those mechanics over there has been in the Marlboro Tour.
Mo ba?
Yeah, as a competitor. And then knowing my own grandfather from my mom's side, the Olis from ang mga Olis, they're from Oslo. Apparently like 1953, 4, 5 or 56. He became like a Cebu champion for Tour de Cebu.
Your grandfather?
Yeah.
Mo ba?
And then at that point in time, they were using fixed gear bikes. Okay, wala pa may freewheel. And then
wala pa gears and everything.
Yeah, the gears probably came in like the 70s and 80s. So from the family, my grandfather, he was like, "Dong, kung ganahan gyud ka maging siklista kay nagpuyo naman siya sa Manila ever since 1974." Pangitaan ning tawhana and then you consult with him if he's still alive.
Cool, man.
This is Camilo Labandero, and then he's a frame builder from the late 80s, early 90s.
In Manila?
No, in Cebu.
Ah, really?
So he's the one like building my frames, like custom frames, because I like to keep it local. They have their local heroes in Manila, and let them have those guys. But here, it's like I respect this.
Does he still do that?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Camilo Labandero.
Really?
Yeah. And
how to find him?
yeah. And then So that's another thing. Through another person, they tell me, oh, anong nakatultol mga diri? And then, mao ba? And then, kaning laing tawhana pangitaa po ni. So it's like connecting the dots, and it's all like Cebu City, Talisay, Mambaling. There's, and then like to the south, like Minglanilla, those were all the bad asses of like Cebu fixed gear riders in like the 70s. Okay. Going back to your earlier thing, indication nga, mura din na siya oval. Actually, kanang Abiliana, before that was rubberized tarmac, that used to be like dirt.
Amo ba?
And that was their velodrome.
Huh? So they used to race fixed gear on the dirt.
Yeah, that's correct.
Mo ba? And
So-
the wheels back then were small, right? Like
It's the
23,
same.
25.
It's the same. What they did apparently was in the front, it's a different tire. Kaya kanang dali matangtang ang ligid. So it interior and exterior. While in the rear, it was glue-on tires. So it still had, it's basically an interior and an exterior like a sausage all in one. Nga butangan lang nimog rugby ang kuan kaning yantas. And then it's a glue-on tire.
Mo ba?
Because it's lighter and it's like, faster on the track. And then like in the front, it's easier to change kay when they would make their turns, and then sometimes they'll crash into each other because it's dirt. Then mga buto ang ligid, and then they'll change it and things like that, and they'll race again. That is like a local track that we had over here
Mo ba?
in the 70s. And then the first known picture that I was aware of from Renato Mir's albums was that 1977 was an official date that stuck into my head. Nga, naglumba sila dito, pero I think that if they had a race, there had to have been practice runs previous years to that. So, dinha na sila ga-practice. And then, apparently, these guys, ang ilang praktisan sa una is actually dirt road going to tops.
Mo ba? Wow,
Uh-huh.
huh?
And then, what is this, like, in Lahug, going to Taoist Temple, there's like Camp something over there.
Yeah,
I think it's like
up
Camp
Beverly
Marina.
Hills.
Yeah, Beverly Hills. They would practice that. But imagine, it's not cement, it's not asphalt.
Dirt pa.
It's road, like dirt road, rocky and things like that. They would do that on a fixed gear. And then now, that takes care of the oval track that we have there in Abiliana. We are actually hoping to, whichever mayor, the current mayor now is like planning to do like a skate park in SRP or wherever.
Yeah.
It would actually be cohesive that to actually have the younger culture or the millennial culture be under dili sa nato ingon nga under control, because no one really wants to be under control. Naalang sila kalingawan gani. Maybe a road track or a velodrome could be incorporated in that. Okay, instead of like us like just riding on the roads and then people complain nga kuan kanang pang choy-choy, pang ikis-ikis, and then mga way butasan. That's because that we don't have any other options. And I think I've done my part to get the boys off Dota, unsa po ng Clash of Clans, mga internet, and then
These are doing something.
I take them off the porn sites. Nga, it's like, oy, undang na mo anak, wala mahitabo sa inyong life. At least like here, we're doing bikes.
With that in mind, but one of the things, so I've been cycling for about over a year now, and only recently I started, really cycling just to commute my goods. I'm not really looking for groups, nothing. And only recently I started like going out of my comfort zone in that sense, trying longer rides. And then I've been looking, like, you look online and then like, na yung mga like competitions.
Right.
Na not velodrome, but the one yung gusto ron, like at least for fixed gears, like that Red Hook one, like a criterium.
Right. Criterium is very important, actually.
That would
And
be really cool to have here. And
we've been planning that in Cebu City, Talisay, and it's just not effective or not conducive to, and unfortunately, local government. Okay, they don't want to close the roads for just bicycles.
no, but I was thinking there are these subdivisions in the outskirts of the cities.
Right.
There's nobody there.
Let's touch up on the subdivision thing. They have guards and they are owned by private.
No, then the whole well, I don't know.
Yeah.
My thinking was, it's probably not that difficult to contact somebody in the company, or let's say it's an Aboitis or whatever, or Santa
Yeah,
Lucia.
hopefully the Aboitis people are listening to this also, no? Hey, please
no, but
make us a velodrome or
it's-
like close the roads for us for like a couple of, like
it's not
days during the year.
It's not that difficult. I don't think it's that difficult, because there are places around Cebu nga there are no houses, no?
Mm-hmm.
And then it could be a subdivision that was made years ago and then nobody's ever built lang.
Right,
So these roads are not being used,
right.
no? And then or it could be subdivisions nga they're trying to sell the
Right.
plot, so they need the marketing.
I've approached somebody over there, like a prominent subdivision in SRP. We'll just not name names, kay it's not necessarily a plug. They have this like really nice area nga pwede gud ihimuan og crit. However,
Let me know when we stop recording.
right. Well, anyways, it's Phil Invest.
Oh, okay.
Phil Invest Alabang, they are doing criteriums like almost like once a month.
Oh,
Pero
yeah?
here in Cebu, I approached somebody else through a different network. They want to have an idea about like bringing people over there. So I did like maybe a really long proposal of safety and use of space and
Which area specifically?
Atbang Chita de Mare. City de Mare.
In there.
Yeah. There's a quadrangle in there that's probably like 2-kilometer loop.
Really?
Yeah, it would be nice actually. It's not an oval, it's like like the shape of a Superman logo. It's almost like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It's
So
almost
it's not
like that.
boring. It's not like,
Yeah, it's not like
because that's the problem with SRP, diba? Like the
Yeah.
place where people really ride a lot, katang the one by the shore.
Bailantao.
Oh, by Lantao kanang
Yeah.
murag, it's one straight line, pin.
Yeah,
pin-
a hairpin,
hairpin,
two
and then-
hairpins, and then
Yeah,
two
that's
straight
it.
lines. That's it. It's boring.
Yeah.
And then, you could develop speed there, but you cannot develop technique. So, anyways, quite disappointing from the senior groups of the SRP riders also apparently had already had a financed meeting of the main PhilInvest main persons of PhilInvest Manila. I think like that was last year sometime nga gipa hotel pa dire human gilaag-laag gilingaw-lingaw, and then the end game was they had submitted a proposal, a much more than likely katong nga proposal mas lig-on to sa kuha kay they have the capacity, financial capacity to make something happen.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know that they had already done that previous, and then me like just thinking of the Cebu fixed gear community, we will have a place to play on our own. We'll enter this transaction hopefully that we can play a game of criterium over there.
Yeah.
So that kind of just like ended up like in limbo. It's like, we still need to contact these people. They haven't gotten back to us. And I'm like, you know what? I'll eventually leave the Philippines. So you guys figure it out in your own community. Because at least I already gave the idea whether they use the building blocks of getting it pushed through. Okay. It's really just so simple.
It really is.
Yeah. And then, however, like that's another hurdle nga. Like it fell under deaf ears, or maybe like walay dili siya return on investment type of kuan ba kaning transaction.
Well, my thinking is, number one, it should be easier than a fun run, right? Because the
Should
fun
be.
run is complicated. It really is. It's quite complicated. Because you really go through the public roads and then they close partially and
Right.
So it should be easier. But yeah, the other thing is, now that you brought up the other bike groups outside of fixed gear, you could do a crit. Okay, you can have categories. You have the road bike category, the fixed gear category.
Yeah.
They can all share the same event ba?
It there was a couple of events that the fixed gear category was included. However, it was dropped because kanigayng how do you say, like there's so much like feedback from the road bike, and they end up having so many different categories on the road bike nga. Ang fixie will just become like a wild card game, and then there's not so many fixie riders that take it like to a professional mindset nga ganahan na gyud ta mulumba. So it's kind of like a rift between like cultures of biking. Ang kaning fixie, it's like urban, lingaw-lingaw, commuting, and then like pasikat-sikat, pachoy-choy. It's all in there. Pang tricks or pang chicks or pang lucky, depende ra unsay trip. So basta it's like it's not something that they take to heart. It's like in hanglan today mag-practice gyud ko, and then I will do a certain thing, regimen, and then I'll race.
Yeah, but that's how Red Hook started, right?
Yeah. Red Hook started as
bunch
like
of drunk
a
guys
game
going on a race.
of being drunk, exactly. So here kay kadaghanan sa tuwa dire puros man minors nga ang kuan
I'm
ride
not
sa
saying go
fixie.
drinking, but like kana.
But I encourage them to go drinking, like especially like it's in a different race. If you saw it on my alleycat menu, there was like padali ay og unom ka litrong tubig, which is a task in itself.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, luckily, wala to siya mabunuti kaya it's one of the options of the game. They would have had a really hard time like completing that task. And anyways, like, obviously like with the fixed gear or like the road bike scene or the mountain bike scene or any kind of bike scene, wanting to have like a race, like a criterium, it's been hard trying to deal with like businesses to support it, especially kanang sa PhilInvest, or even like the local government to shut down or cordon off like a certain section of road for a certain day. Liman kan dili man gaya nila mausab ang road revolution to like do like car free day in Cebu.
Yeah.
How about nilang kahang duwa lang?
Yeah, well, my thinking duwa lang is because it doesn't have to be in a heavily populated area in Cebu City, for example. It
Right.
can really be in the outskirts where there's a lot more leeway, no?
Right.
That's another thing that I've been, because a lot of the so I've been looking around a little bit now. I noticed there are some like bike events, but the vast majority of the events are still like triathlon based.
Yeah. It's
Which-
triathlon or marathon or duathlon or,
Yeah.
just that based. You know why? Reason being is this. The triathlete community has such big sponsors. That's why it's so much easier for them to pull permits and get things done. Okay, it's like millions, come on, fixed gear scene coming from the from the root of bicycle advocacy. There's no money in it, It's like I put on a race and I sponsor the race, half of it. Okay, when you do an alleycat race, yeah, you get donors or sponsors for kaning raffles, and then most of them are like Manila based. We are here in Cebu, there's also a strong like support local venues, like t-shirt companies like that are urban type. Ang ilang mao na ilang market is like urban, and then local artisans or something. Basta it's still local, But the point being is like, since it's not easy to pull permits to do races, we do underground races.
Yeah.
So kaning kuan underground, it's like we don't really need to publish it on the newspaper. Who does that?
Yeah.
For the most part, the games in Cebu that is like fixed gear related, I would most of the time, if you ask someone who did that originate from, it would probably just boil down to one answer. And I really hate to admit that most of the time it comes to my name. Yeah, I see Rye, and then there's other people that cannot accept that. Yeah, they're really not the first fixie in Cebu, and then it's like it becomes like tension or whatever, and it's like, yeah, you know what, I'm over it, and then just move forward. And so now it's like underground is the thing. However, underground, basically it's like this. Bay, maglumba ta bay. Pero kung naman disgrasya, wa ni mahitabo. Kanya-kanya ta.
Lagi. That's why, yeah.
Right? So
there's a limitation.
Right. So in regards to sponsored events or like well-documented events, there's ambulance.
Yeah.
There's paramedics. So obviously ambulance, paramedics, medical staff, and then there's marshals.
It's a controlled environment, essentially. I feel.
But even at that, you can't control a dog from crossing. Yeah. But marshals are supposed to do that, but they can't do that all the time.
No, but also these fixed gear races.
Right.
It's characterized with there's crashes all the time.
It's crashes, but it's so fun.
Oh yeah, I know. That's why.
Okay, it's like, some of us like broke like bones or like like had stitches and everything, and get into like slight fender benders, and it's just like mamapa lang ba nang, oy sorry kayo ha kanang napara pa ko lumbag yapilan, so dili ang sata mag picture kay something. At the last alleycat race, there was a Temple of Leia, and then one of the riders there was gonna pose to have his clue that I required to bring back. I did
they're supposed to take a picture of themselves, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's it. It's a simple task. Pero there was like some tourists over there, like maybe local tourists. Ay, kuya, kanang pwede magpa-picture si mong bike, or pwede magpa-picture ni mong anay mong bike. Ni ana gid siya. Hala miss kanang pwede man ta, pero naara ba ko lumbag ya pilan karon. Nanglan ako mabibiya. So it's like nalangan siya for like 2 minutes ba, pero like he just conceded with that. He gave way to the request of maybe 2 lovely ladies or 2 lovely old ladies nag request picture with him or his bike dito sila nga lugar. So it was kind of nice actually to find out he accommodated these 2 people. So anyways, being that it's underground, like riders briefings are very important. And then being that it's an underground, I make it like a point nga always in a game of race, do not die.
Oh yeah, because I noticed that on your poster.
Yeah, you do not die. So it's supposed to be fun, and it's supposed to be like talked about for the next anticipated event. Wow, ingon ani nga event, and it was like unheard of before, and it was the first time it happened in the Philippines. Kaya even ang sa Manila, naglibog how I'm gonna conduct like a team alleycat. So an alleycat race here in Cebu is always happening, whether it's a grudge match between like friends. It's like, huy, ikaw ha, kung mapildi ka na ko, suong kas bike. Or kung ikay mapildi, ikay palit beer ha. Or kung basta unsa na lang marasunan kanang challenge gani nang, huy, kung dili ka kat ubusa, you kiss a hooker ha. And then you make sure that it's like published on your Facebook. Mga dare, and then it becomes like a new type of tradition. and then it's not boring anymore. It's like maglumba lang, and then pakusganay sa sikad, kinsay makauna sa finish line. It's
Well, there's like, to be honestly, like kanang racing on the streets has an appeal,
it does.
no? And because it's really unpredictable.
And then
it really is.
Why do you think even people with cars and motorcycles still race on the streets
Oh, yeah.
illegally anyway? You know, yeah, they're not weaving in and out of traffic, but they kill the same. You know, once they get in an accident, malagpot,
I remember when I
mabangga.
was a kid, they used to go racing in SRP, or like the
SRP and reclamation.
Rekla to North.
That's always
Rekla.
been the thing. Like, you know, when I was a kid, like in the 80s, nga ako ang dad, like he would take me in the car and then look at the illegal racing over there by the old white gold.
Yeah.
Which is now like Robinson's Galleria area, that area, going towards like Mandaue. And then that was the only racing spot before. Or from what I've heard, they made Fuente and like Jones, Osmeña area, like racing also.
Yeah. Well, I know that like my dad used to hang out. That used to be their Ayala and SM, like in the 70s.
So, Mona din hang out.
Fuente.
Now, like, the effect of local government support to bicycling, it's kind of taking effects in the underground world. So, as one of the people like organizing underground races, I cannot be held liable because even though that we put like we make waivers, you know, dili lang kay magkiat ka to your own accord. If something happens to you, it's like you're on your own. And then like you're a minor, samot na. Kay like simple rules, you don't die. You have fun. You have fun, and then don't get into an accident, or as we would normally say in our local scene, ayaw ka disgrace, ha?
Ka disgrace.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, too old-fashioned naman kayong disgrasya. Ayaw ka disgrace, so walay mamatay na to karon. So, anyways, like with that, like the alleycat has an appeal. It's like it's an amazing race kind of event. Whether it's two people or a single person, individual racing it or joining, competing in it, it's the mechanics of the game. Na checkpoint.
Yeah.
And then
I think we should state like the mechanics just in case the readers.
Usually good from the individual like alleycats. There's a certain checkpoint.
That they don't know. They join the race, but they only find out like right before they start, right?
Or when they get to the checkpoint, they get the next clue.
Oh yeah, okay,
Right,
that's
so,
cool too.
Marshals are very important in alleycats of individual races. Now, we evolved from having to, man checkpoints to selfies. Okay, it's a clue nga, yeah, you've been there, so that's the checkpoint. So we require like, kuha nilang garon, kanang camera phones, kaya barely anyone's using like keypads, cell phones anymore anyway. So, nanay camera phone, selfie ka din ha. Okay, before, we used to have a checkpoint at a certain place, like for instance, like a local supplier of streetwear t-shirts, like i-visit yung shop para ma-promote yung shop, para mabibo. And then like he's also one of the fixed gear riders, or he's like one of the, another sports related something. We respect their shop, but it's kind of expected from the riders nga that's gonna be one of the checkpoints. However, they don't know how it's shuffled. Yeah. So for instance, you found
don't know
out
what's first, second, third.
You found out from France na if you want fixie, you go to si Rye Kido sa si Katunay, na. Okay, so obviously his shops was one of them. So either we had like a starting point over here. That's only one clue. So with manned events or marshaled events, like you would go from point A, B, C, D, E, F, however many points that is, until you come back, until you get the hint to come back over here, and then wa pagay hibaw kung ikaw bagay mo daog ikabot nimo dire kay basin nay puzzle. Pautukay na lang. It's not about how fast you complete the race. It's also how fast your mind
Yeah, those
is
are like it's
working
really fun
when you're
races.
stressed. You know?
Uh,
So, mga yun so,
you don't know good what's gonna happen. You
right,
join and you have no
exactly.
idea.
So, checkpoint races like alleycats like that, spontaneous, and then like, just like Mabanga, it's also spontaneous, and then it's happened, but
Oh, for
luckily,
sure.
there's really no one in the Cebu fixed gear community or communities. Okay, there are now subgroups. So like almost every school has subgroups, and then we even have like Lapu-Lapu, and then like a secondary group over here in like Mandaue, like Sagidas and stuff like that, and you know like even south side like Minglanilla and Naga, it's been like so diverse nga. It used to just be like Mambaling was the go-to point, or even like there was another acquaintance of mine that was building fixed gear bikes over in like Consolacion, and then like so really like there's so many groups and so many things that it becomes like spontaneous nga. Apil ka kay natay grudge. Pildihon ta ka ani nga duwa karon, and it's like,
How
and
did
then
how did people find out about this?
we just post them online. That's the wonder of social media.
Okay.
You know.
So you just posted on the Cebu Fixed Gear page.
Yeah, either the Cebu Fixed Gear page or the GCs, the group chats. It's like, okay, here's the
Ah.
idea. You go scatter it.
Yeah, but the thing with the group chat, like you can't just join, no? Like anang
Yeah, but like, obviously I'm like involved with like maybe 3 different group chats, but only one of them is like fixed gear related. And then I shun everything else like bike related, because like I'm concentrating on fixed gear bikes, building them, designing them, and then actually getting them made, locally, or like, like with international products, like from Sagawas. Like for instance, I have a bike over there that's like fully Italian made, and then like gipadala gikan sa Italy, and then pa-assemble. So that's another thing. So anyways, it's all like spontaneous, scattered through GCs, because we don't feel. I myself don't feel the need to put it in the newspaper,
and that's
or like
expensive, putting it in the newspaper.
yeah, it's like what.
Actually, that's one of my other questions because like if I wanted to find out events in general, so
You
I know it's
won't.
all online.
You won't find unless you come here and like or you chat with me, or like oh, is there anything happening? It's like, oh, nothing planned yet, but maybe after Sunulog, before or after Valentine's Day, there might be another something, and which, as a matter of fact, I am planning alleycat, Team Alleycat 2. So since I'm still kind of tired from last week's event, I'm like, oh man. Because you can run the Team alleycat as a skeletal crew of 3 to 5 people. And then instead of like doing checkpoint races, nga na marshal sa mga 7-Eleven, or sa kanang a certain Julie's Bake Shop, or certain food chain that you're gonna go to, or basta sa checkpoint na mo pirma, kay that's the way it was supposed to be, like the original alleycats, or at a certain checkpoint na you shoot 1 drink of beer.
Oh,
But we figured out over here nga, since there's minors, let's not do that.
probably not a good idea.
Yeah. And then anyways, para malingaw ang tanan, we'll include like minor riders, and then like weak riders, newbies. There's something that they can join in the event. It's not like anang ay kusgan ka na sila, di ta mo apil, anak mo tanaw lang ta. And then what's the point in that? Actually, for instance, last night, getting the crowd involved, it was so crazy that like that song we will rock
Queen
you,
song.
Bohemian Rhapsody, diba?
Yeah.
It was created so that the band will not be playing the instruments, para ang thumping and clapping is done by the crowd. So Queen as the band will only like put out the microphone and listen to the crowd sing and stomp the actual song that
Yeah.
made them famous also. So what we're doing with the Team Alleycat is that we're getting all the sideline people ganing. It's like, ay, bag-o pa mong gugko, human ka ng wa ko'y talent, ana. So we include them like, hey, you're gonna create a team, you figure out in your team who's gonna run what race, pero it's only one time, big time nga. Once I say go, everyone is gonna do their task simultaneously. So from the ordinary individual alleycat race, it spanned about 2 hours of chaos. Kay magbalik-balik man sa hint. Kay either, okay, from this point, go to get a receipt at this 7-Eleven. And then there's someone that's going to give you another clue over there. So that someone needs to be a marshal.
Yeah.
And then another clue to another marshal, and then another marshal, and another clue to another place until you get here to the starting point, and then or to the end point. So it took a lot of manpower, gani. So now with the evolution to Team Alleycat, we can hold it at a place, occupy it for 2 hours. Kay kana siya, it involves hard racing, like difficult tasks like Temple of Leia, maybe tops. Imagine I had someone, they were able to pick a route fastest to come back from Star Mall Talisay, fastest to come back SM Lasyon, and then even at those other things there was
So they had to go, instead of getting a marshal, they went like to Star Mall, took a selfie,
and then fastest to come back.
and
Not necessarily that even that they were fastest to come back, it would ensure them a win. It was the fastest to complete certain tasks. Like there was for 6x6, it was 4 out of 6 completed first, they win. However, this time around I had to be let's say I had to adjust because the people were so intrigued by the game that they were not sure if they were gonna participate or not. Okay, ganahan pa sila makakita unsa gyud alleycat or what is Team Alleycat. So then dili tanan nag immediately join the race. So I had to adjust it to 5x5. So now to make 5x5 interesting is that still need to complete 4. Instead 4 out of 6, then it became harder na. 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Luckily, the group that won 4 out of 5 still took it even at the 5 out of 5. Okay? Even with the stronger riders, you cannot ensure that there's going to be no technical difficulties with your ride. You could get a flat.
Yeah.
You could get in an accident. Pero, given at the rider's briefing, it's like, please have fun. You don't need to wear helmets, but if you do, wear them.
Come on, but a lot of the fixed gear riders, they don't have helmets.
Yeah, because it's all low budget. We even made a shirt like no money for brakes. How naka helmet? But that's kind of like a running joke. They actually will make the time to buy a helmet. Maybe just that point in time, mga tapulan, kanang magkuano bitaw ta, suroy ba ta syudad. It's like, we're not going that fast. So to them, just to get everyone involved, it's like, okay, you don't have a helmet, don't kill yourself. You have a helmet, don't kill yourself. Just have fun, don't kill yourself. It always goes back to that, like, have fun and let's make this successful. And it became a success.
Yeah.
Like,
so you're gonna do it again.
It was so exhausting. Like, I prepared for it like a quick turnaround of like maybe 40 days to conceptualize the idea, pitch it for the sponsors to give sponsorship items for raffles, and then the finance was half mine. Nobody else's.
Yeah.
And then like actually even at that, like the proceeds of what we gained from the raffle tickets and like the t-shirts that were sold, kay support local gani. Even the local supporters, they don't even know that I'm gonna have a pizza party with them. It's like just gratitude, like, hey, thank you for making it happen.
Yeah.
Thank you for supporting local. Thank you for the fun and then the crazy drunken times outside. And then, because it's not always my place, it's sometimes going to be yours. So it became such a success. In my mind, there will be a number 2. And that's just the thing. If it wasn't for France, Deadways, Jello, Justin at Insima, and like, the local other people in Manila that supported like the race, this would not have happened. And definitely I'm thanking like the participation of like the not 100% convinced like riders nga napugos lang sila like, ay kulang man si kuha na lang, sige apilang ko kay at least maka-experience. And even if it was their first time to compete in an alleycat, to them it was like so mind-boggling. It's like, oh my God, ni-appeal ko uguan kaning lumba, and then I don't even know what this is. And I tell them, I assure you, you will make a decision by the team. Even the weakest link could be the main source of strength. Kay ato ingnon, mga kusgan ng riders na buslutan og ligid, but their weak point is changing tires. And, interior.
Yeah, I noticed there was some like there, like you had some part there, Gamurag, okay, change the 2 tires, fastest.
Yes.
2-tire change.
And that's like one of the basic necessities if you ride. For instance, maflatan ka, wato break ag bulkitanan. Do you have a pump and patches with you?
Yeah, well, not now. I don't bring
now.
it for
Right.
city commutes.
Okay. You should. And then just like everyone should, of the other riders would be like, uy, kinahanglan yun ka mag-helmet ba? Yeah, I ride with a helmet, and then sometimes it's just so inconvenient. Kamo adto lang og kulon, and then it's just like become like part of life. Nga dili gyud ka kinahanglan gani mag-suit up into a cycling jersey. Okay, that is like almost prerequisite with like professional thinking na ba ng higher up, level up nga. It's like, ay mag-practice ko karon kay ganahan ko magpalig-on kay I'm practicing on a fixie so I could compete in an Ironman. Kay since it's gonna be freewheel, it's gonna be easier. So even with that, like that's a different beast altogether. We do have like riders that are competing in the Ironmans, not just on a bike leg, but the actual swim bike run.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the other fixie riders are cross-training, mountain bike, duathlons, or like some of them are BMX riders. They do like tricks on the fixies and whatnot. But a lot of them are actually getting into like marathons and things like that. So now, going back to the traffic in Cebu, oh my God, like these kids, let's call them kids because that's what most people look at them at. Even we're adults. Kani mga bataan na kiat kini. Yes, there's a factor of kiat, but asa man sa kada bike group nga walay kiat. Diba? You have
It's
mountain
fun.
bike. You have
And they're young.
Yeah. Even like the older groups, they hate to admit it, but they're like, oh, bitaw ba, nga mo ageng kuan kanang dako-dako kiat kayo murag bata. It's like, yeah, mauna na din ha. And then what, does he wear a helmet and like all the time like wala lagi pero sige na lang kay siya may dako-dako. And then it's like, oh, naaraman na di ay. So it's kind of like unfortunate that people like point out the bad stuff with the fixie community just because of the things that they do. Or see bad that has been done on the streets. Pero as a matter of fact, now these kids are like so disciplined than before. The first generation was like, we don't know what we're doing. The second, we're probably now approaching the 8th year. So this is like the 8th generation of fixed gear in Cebu, and it could be named different like groups, like of schools, of work related groups, and there's so many different levels of discipline that they have. The kids that are at school, they cut class, they make Dota games. Now they stop doing Dota games, and now they're thinking they're riding bikes, and then they're actually training for Ironmans. No, or they're actually
So like the point of like going to fixed gear more like help them in their fitness skills.
yeah, and
inspire
then
them
their
to
mental thing, like apparently I have this like let's just call them a person. Yeah, we're not gonna deal with the gender, but I think you get the hint. They're troubled at home, and then like so wala siya release sa yung anger or kanang no one to talk to. They confide with friends, and then their friends are bikers, like fixie riders, and they hang out over here, and then they become family. And then here at my house, it ends up being their house. With my children, it becomes their like like something that they see as my children, that it's kind of like related to them, like mga bata ni Kuya Rye like let's play with them inside. Well, Kuya or Uncle Rye or Tito Rye is like busy with the other bike first, so it's like let's take care of the kids, help out in the house. So they became another community outside of their school community, or even like sub-school community, kanang mga theater or kanang cheer dance, mga. So this became another family outside of school and outside of their family. So daghan ng mga circles, di ba? So it was always like that in the US, in California. There's the music community that I was so exposed to. Everything was exposed to, but the common denominator was the bike, and it was not necessarily a fixed gear bike. That just so happens to be an attraction, the law of attraction to women.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'll just have to be blunt there. Sexy kayo, anak ko dito ko na anak. Wow, amazing. So now with them, they, even with the group of riders over here, they make their own like small community, like in a group chat nga, oy kita ha mag training ta kay we want to make round Cebu. Round Cebu. No one really dared to do that before. And then Bohol, like Giro de Luca, it's like it was unheard until this year na lang. There were 4 fixed gear riders from Cebu that
you went with them,
officially, yeah. That was like spur of the moment for me. I've done Cebu 3 or 4 times. Why would I do it again this time? So Giro de Luca, it was such a challenge nga. Here, moagi na kag Mactan, so that's another 30 km, and then round from Cebu City to Bugo to Sanrem to Toledo to Santander and back to Cebu City is another 487 km plus 30, so 500, 15, 20.
But Giro de Luca is the one in Bohol.
Yeah, and that's 500 km period.
In 3 days.
In 3 days. But round Cebu,
Straight.
it's straight. It's like you fall asleep. You just go to sleep.
Actually, well, quick shout out to si Ayan Indong when he made that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That I'll link to it in the show notes. That documentary En Masse. Oh
yeah, it's the 500 Cebu 500 km Cebu ride, and
it was documented.
Exactly.
I really enjoyed that.
And then I didn't even see the new edit, because like there's a previous edit to that they didn't release, And then I think that was like the prototype of what they were gonna do, like with the new edit. And
well, he released it on Facebook. It's out.
Yeah, he released it on Facebook, and I didn't see it yet because I was so busy with something else. And with like like the people, they come into the house by appointment, and like they'll text or they'll chat first. Hey, kuya, I'm coming over there, and this and that. I need help blah blah blah, or I need to borrow your tools. So again, being a community, separating the kids from the boys or the boys to men, it's like, even though that these riders come here, they're troubled at home. They come here for like like another family to console them, or to like just vent their anger out. They become more creative. So I teach them how to fix their bikes. I teach them to save money by not going to a bicycle shop to have to pay a mechanic when they're fully capable of doing them themselves. So it's like, I'm thankful actually since that the community involved, they look up to me. And I think it's actually quite the other way around, because if it wasn't for the community, there would not be a me. There would just be me and lonely. No? And then, so a big shout out to all the communities, the Fixie Riders, all throughout Cebu City and the Visayas region. We have Bohol, we have, Leyte, Ormoc, and then like even like on the western side islands, mga Negros, mga Ana. It's such a pleasure to have been part of your life one way or another, whether it's just through chat, Facebook, or a text, or even if they visited the house, even from Manila or Visayas, a lot of them, they come here to check the place, to make Instagram with the garage, but predominantly, like definitely visitors from Luzon and Mindanao. They come. They don't see like, to ride. They just come to like, hey, sir, naami diri sa kuan sa Colon. It's like, where are you located? It's like, we'd like to visit you and like, say hi and introduce ourselves. Okay. It's kind of like a trade-off. Like when I go to Manila, I try to find new people to associate with, like to bridge. Because definitely, I think that's what's lacking. We are lacking Cebuano representatives putting their own monies together and actually going to Manila and just ride, because it's not an experience if you have not ridden outside of Cebu Island. And let's just say if you haven't ridden outside of Region 8, it's not really an experience. So it's an eye-opener to be in a bigger city or a smaller city, depending, where you're going. It's so refreshing to just, this is like your group and this is what you guys do. This is your trip. In Cebu, we like to do this trip and then this is yours. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. It's like bonding. And then to tie it all up again with the community, it's like, even with each individual, they have their parents. They're concerned about the ecology, the health of the city and the country, or like some things. It all goes back to advocacy. Like, they own old stuff. They want to get it refurbished, and then I don't necessarily do like refurbished like radio stuff, but I know someone. So then
you're helping out with the community.
I can connect them with another person that is so-called expert, local expert on that field. So it becomes intertwined again, more on a personal level. Like we're having this conversation right now. It's like, I'd like to interview for a podcast. And it's like, yeah, sure. And then you end up going somewhere else because you connected the dots with somebody else. So it's kind of like that. Like,
well, that's how I got connected to you. I
right.
talked to France, and then your name came up, and I was like, oh. Then it took me a while to find the shop.
Yeah, because
there's no signage.
It's a community. It's not a store.
Yeah, that's right.
And then, like, actually, funny enough, like a couple of days ago, like some people from City Hall, like with their uniform, they were asking me about, do I have a business permit? I'm like, what the hell would I need a business permit for? Yeah, it's like, I have bikes over here. It's like, it's not for sale unless you really want to force me to sell you one. So if you're gonna force me, it'll be my price that you might not afford. Okay? Kana laging mentality nga. It's like, kung anong tani dire, kaning gulaton tani. I'm like, wow, this is my hobby, this is my passion. You know, it's like, it sustains me enough, and it's like, no one's making millions here, but you see these two kids outside, they're fixing their bike. I taught them that. So, murag wala sila katingog gani. Anan ko, ay, thank God. Like, you know, like, for whatever reason, it's like, it's always been a community. It's not a store. There is no open and close sign. There's no like exact store hours. That's why on like Cebu Fixed Gear page, it's like, you know, it could be like 24 hours open. Pero since it's going to be local, we deal with local time. However, when people are actually messaging Cebu Fixed Gear, there's actually 3 different people handling that as admins. One is in New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
One is in California, and then one is me. So almost all the time zones become 24 hours. Okay, and it's all English format. No one answers there in like Bisaya or Tagalog.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have been there and like even inquired about anything. So like it's always business English business format, so that there kanang dili gay kanang sabtan og laing pasabot gani. So, in English, it's more like formal anyway. And
try not to be misunderstood. It's very easy to be
exactly.
misunderstood on social media.
Exactly. And then, like, so here, you know, it's, you just have to make an appointment, and it's very easy. You add Rye Kido on Facebook, you send a message on Messenger, and then you inquire about a bicycle project, and then we exchange phone numbers and invite you to come over, visit, and then there's no pressure about like selling you anything or you buying anything, because you probably don't know what you're gonna get yet, or like what you're thinking you might be. So I have to qualify a person, what they actually need. Okay, I just want a bike. It's like, well, this is not just a bike. Like, what kind of bike are you into? Kanang mudagan. It's so general ba?
Yeah.
It's
Because
like,
sometimes, so I feel like sometimes people don't really know what they want. Like, they come here because it's a bike shop, but they don't know what fixed gear is. For all you know, they'd prefer a mountain bike. Kanang nga na.
exactly. And sometimes they get offended gani when it really comes down to the real question. Bay, unsay ang imuhang real budget, with REAL capitalized and apostrophe, real budget. Kuan, 5K pwede na. What? Sometimes, if you look at the internet, you know, be realistic ba? It's like, okay, naamo gigibaligya, kaning kuan nang siya, 8K second hand naman, basin pwede pa mahangyo. So, mauna po lagi na din ha, comes to the culture of kanang hangyo-hangyo. Walang tawad, wala kang kasalanan sa akin, wag ka nang tumawad, yung ana ba? So, it's like, with me, it's like, I wasn't brought up with that culture. As a matter of fact, sometimes I buy items sold online, and to a person that I actually know, it's like, if I'm friends with someone, dili na ko mohangyo eh. Or it's like, kay kaila ta, I'll hangyo. What is this, like, in the art industry again? Like, you know, the editing industry, nga daghan kay sila intong magkuan, magreklamo, nga unsom to ni mga tawhana, eh, nga mangayo lag para konsolid bubo, man, mga DJs, kay amigo lagi, bay, tukar lang sa among ang kuan, kaning human pagkaon lang imuha, and then, when you get there, you have to set up your own on your own, and then wala, diba? It's like sometimes
So you gotta pay what you're worth, or get what you're worth.
I actually tipped someone 500 for an item that was 500, because to me that item was worth 1,000. And then recently I bought something from like a distant cousin, and then the price was even more favorable to me. Kay iyang gibaligya yung secondhand stuff. And then I know that even though he's a doctor, I surprised him with a tip of 500. And he was just not expecting, like, you know, I'm like, bro, this is not my culture, but, you know, it's like, I know that you have a child and like newly born and everything. Like, this is just my gift for diapers. Paying it forward to another person. Okay. The community supports me. I'll support the community as much as I can. Like, for instance, there's an accident. Na isa ka bata rider, He's from Abolo. Just recently broke his clavicle. He was hit by another bike rider, a construction worker, coming in on the street on Imos. There's an area over there that's like lit so badly. Walay suga. And then dito sila nagtagbo. Nagbangga sila, and then wala sila mga tagak sa bisikleta, pero ang iyang shoulder was hit by the helmet, like a construction helmet. So he tried to ride all the way to MJ Cuenco stoplight before kaning Maxilom. Until he turned around, like he was crying, like coming back home.
Sakit na kayo.
Oh, it was broken, man.
Oh, okay.
Like when you feel like the kaning clavicle area, it's smooth, it's straight, and then it just drops. And I'm like, oh my God, you really need to have medical attention. Oh, kuya, let's not call my parents. This is so bad. I'm like, no, man. I don't have the finance to get you fixed at a hospital. This is beyond my limits. Even as a guardian to you, call your parents now. Wherever they're at, it's like, if they request me to take you personally to the ER, I'll take you, but that's as far as I can go. And then wait for them to arrive. So luckily, naratol siya ba? Nga, oh, maybe I won't be able to ride again. I'm like, listen, these are the consequences of riding a bicycle, period. Not in Cebu City, not in Los Angeles, not in California, not in Mindanao, not in Manila. This is just riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
Okay? And like I emphasize that because like people here tend to think it's like it's so hard, but it's just riding a bicycle. So his parents arrived because I got in contact with them and I calmly asked them to like react subtly. Nga, ayaw lang magkuan ha kanang allergic reaction, pero nabalian tinga ni siya bukog. He needs like immediate medical attention. Take him to a hospital, and then this and that, and then mao ba? Okay. Why kaso? And then asa naman mo karon? Like we're at the house on Sikatuna. You know where it's at. It's like we'll make space for your car once you get here, and then we'll usher your boy out, and then you could leave his bike over here so that it's convenient for you to take him to the hospital. So we gave him the rundown, and like it's like I'm a father also, so it's like if my kids should ever have an accident, God forbid, wala ko or something, hopefully the mother can take care of them by herself or something. Kanang for instance, ang mga wala gyud ang other pares. So you can't just like depend on your parents all the time, of course. But luckily, I was able to brief them what had happened to their son, and then there's options of hospitals to visit, and then he got his medical attention and everything was well.
Look after the community.
Yeah, and you can't just be like, "Oy, biyaanta ni siya, kay murag wala naman ni."
Lagi.
It's like that's such a bad feeling, like.
Yeah, you have a responsibility. So you feel a responsibility to these kids.
Yeah, actually, I have a responsibility to the public also. Nga. Even though that people will say that I put together the Cebu Fixed Gear community, I have bashers. Nga. How come you can't control your riders? Right?
Well, it's not your responsibility to control everybody.
Right. Even at that, it's almost like saying like
if you're owner of McDonald's and then somebody screws up an order,
or sabotages an order, yeah,
or diba? Like,
yeah, exactly. So
it's
kind of like the thing where it's like, well, you're Duterte's like countrymen. How come you don't do the same as him? It's like not everybody believes in that thing, but whatever. So again, like you pointed out, like. Yeah, we'll try to influence the community as best as we can. We'll try to have positive results and like just moving forward to like evolve as a community of non-petrol dependent people, because that was always the thing, like bicycling, another mode of transportation, not to depend on fossil fuels, gasoline, diesel, or mechanical combustion transport.
Because that thing will also that runs eventually. We don't know when, but that's gonna run out.
Well,
That you know.
yeah, and then there's another, conspiracy theory about that also. So, anyways, hopefully, I'm just so hoping that the gas prices will go up to 100 per liter. I'm such a bad person. Okay, I know people will become more healthier. Okay, there will be less cars on the road, more people walking, more people riding bicycles, and eventually, the country will just be happier with less cars because it's such a junk pile of surplus cars. And yeah, some of them look nice, but they're actually really junk cars,
Yeah.
Otherwise, for instance, refurbishing an old bike, you could at least say, sir, this is my lolo's bike, and then this is from the war era. And then, unsa nga war? Oh, the First World War. Wow! And then it's still alive. There's a story behind it. And then, who's your lolo? And it just so happens maybe that their lolo was actually a fixed gear rider in the 60s or in the 70s, like my lolo was. Then it becomes a greater story for historical vantage point of Cebu commuting. It's don't be so dependent on cars. Okay? The city really wasn't properly designed for cars.
Yeah.
And then even though we're asking ourselves how we can be responsible for our own community, I think that with even the dealerships and motorcycle dealership, car dealership, surplus dealership, they should really start thinking out of their comfort zone or out of their budget kind of thing. Are they in the right business? Are they, yes, they're making an impact for their family, immediate family as far as finances, but there are other alternatives to actually make good business sustainable, whether it's a hard business or everyone's looking for something easy. That's why I don't do quick and easy transactions, kuan kaning easy money. There needs to be a worth for what you're paying me. And for instance, you're not paying me for a bicycle when you buy one. You're paying me for services. Why? I will build you a bicycle that I can say to myself, this bicycle is worthy to go around 512 km round Cebu in one go. And then the only thing that this person will need is food to survive, water to endure, and then patches and a pump to get home.
Well, and the legs to push forward.
Well, yeah, legs really pushing forward. Up hills and mountains, you can walk. You could push it. So it's not really. It's a mindset ay imposible kaya na nila tuyokon ang Cebu within 24 hours. Yes, it is. But then again, it was also impossible to send a man to the moon, and that was achieved.
Well, I think it's anyway. We've been talking for a while.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good place to end.
Yeah.
Sakto gid ka. Kaya gyud. Kato en masse. They did it in
34 hours.
34
yeah.
hours. Oh.
And they did that quite well because I did that on a road bike. 34 hours. 32 minutes.
That was yours on a road bike?
Yeah, on a road bike.
Yeah, sila.
But they did that in 34 hours, 35 minutes, so 5 minutes ligas. So, and then somebody else from my Giro group went around Cebu in 29 hours.
Mo ba? By himself?
It was with a time trialist nga practicing for triathlon. They were using a geared bike. And then partida po kay na kay when they left Cebu City, they forgot their helmets. So they came back to Cebu City. I think they were in Mactan area already. They came back to get the helmets, and then continued.
What's the route exactly? What is the route exactly for the en masse?
The route for the en masse is Cebu City, which would be Capitolio.
Okay.
Starting at 0. And then we will make the loop through Mactan, taking the new bridge.
Start of the new bridge?
Right.
Go through the new bridge.
Go through the new bridge, and
around
then
Mactan.
loop around Mactan, Cordova, and then back out to the old bridge, closing the loop in Mandaue,
Okay.
and then that continues to all the way north to Bogo, and then left to what is that, like San Remigio, and then all the way down to Toledo, traverse like Aluginsan, Barili, and those are some hard climbs over there, you know. Then all the way down to Santander, which is the southernmost tip, and then back to Cebu City.
Back to like Capitol Dapit.
Yeah, back to Capitol to ground zero, to zero again. So that's like again 512 to 500.
That's cool.
15 km.
I don't know if I'll ever do that, but that's
You
cool.
know, it actually took me 6 years
Oh
to
yeah.
do it. It took me 6 years, but it only it took me 6 years to plan around Cebu, and then there was a group of mountain bikers in Minglanilla called the AMTA group, AMTA, and they've been doing this tradition going around Cebu since like the early 90s.
MOBA. So they more or less they do it at 35 hours gapon.
No, they've done it within 24.
MOBA.
And then
Wow.
like the last people that arrived in their group was the fixed gear group. The first time that I went around Cebu City, like around Cebu, but that does not include Mactan. So their loop is only about 487 km.
Still a sizable.
Yeah, but imagine coming from Sikatuna, going to Mingla, Lipata, and then having to go back north. That's still 500 km.
Yeah. That's right.
So to them, it was the very first time that they had encountered the name Rye Kido and Fixie. It was. They were so curious
Who went
about
with you in the fixed gear?
Huh?
Just you?
It was me and 3 others from Cebu Fixed Gear that practiced, but unfortunately, the other people, they were not able to continue. And then the other person that I trained with was planning to do it on a road bike, and even with that, he did not finish or complete at all.
So usually there's like a what do you call this?
A team?
Like a service vehicle or
there's a support vehicle.
vehicle.
And then this was provided actually by the AMTA group, because we just like hitched the idea nga mukuyog lang mi.
But you were hours behind them.
We started together.
Yeah.
Because it was like this. I realized that it was only gonna be me as a fixed gear rider. There was another 2 people from the Cebu fixed gear community that did not train, but they've been training on their own, that came with me. And then since this was posted online through the group, not the group chats, but like the pages, 2 people from Dumaguete took the boat, lived with me for the day, and then 5 of us went around Cebu with the AMTA group. And our first run doing the round Cebu was 47 hours, 45 minutes.
Wow.
And then because
days, basically.
Yeah, 2 days.
It's basically 2 full days.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then
wait, sleep in between?
Oh yeah, we slept in between, and then
like 1 hour sleep lang, or kinda like a full 4,
no, we
6,
had
8
to
hours?
actually retire 8 hours in Toledo, because at that first time that we went on the round Cebu with the AMTA, it was a torrential storm.
Oh, okay.
Nga, it started at 8 p.m. and then it the taligsik started at 8 p.m. when we arrived in Toledo 7-Eleven, and then I had contacted a friend. We could stay at their house, so he helped us with that and food. Kay wala na pagkaon that time. So from nibundak siya between 10 until 2, like as in like bundak cats and dogs. One. So 5 a.m. when we woke up, it was still drizzling, and we continued. So that cost us the 8 hours. So we would have been able to complete it by 40 hours.
That's kind of what I want to do though. Like I want to do I want to do the round Cebu, but I don't want to do it straight. Like I want
To camp out.
yeah, like kanang yan ba, make it like
Oh, you can
kind
do
of
that.
leisure. I think that would be fun for me.
You can do that, and you need not be afraid to travel at night.
Oh, I'm not. I think it's fine.
Okay, like there's some rumors. Hey, this area there's still some NPAs and things like that. Like
Oh, I don't.
nah, it's like there's bad elements of people, and like there's always good elements when you're riding a bicycle, like simple bicycle. They're not gonna like tulisans. They don't really do much unless it's just like for quick turnaround.
No,
for like
but I generally think people are good-hearted.
oh yeah.
I feel like that's a better way to approach the world. So obviously, not everybody is. Not everybody has good intentions. There are people with bad intentions, but
right.
but if you approach the world thinking that everybody has bad intentions, it's kind of a difficult way to live.
Oh yeah. Okay. With that, I've not encountered any bad experiences riding around Cebu or even Cebu City. I go into like the Carbon, the Pasil, the Dulho areas, but it's not like something that I'm looking for something there. I'm passing through. I'm passing by.
Yeah. Oh, I've done that too. I'm not. Yeah, kinda.
And then like the Tisa area, there's like.
Oh, I haven't ridden through
Gubot
Tisa.
ka na din ha, pero it's fine,
It's like gubot ka.
It's fine, and then like there's not much like but if you're on a bicycle, you could easily maneuver around dangerous situations. That's one thing. For instance, again in commuting, that's why I personally chose to ride to live car free, or sometimes just ride a bicycle through town. Okay, I feel that with all the snatchings, kuot in the jeepneys or in buses and stuff like that, it's more prominent because you're tired, like you're exhausted actually from the hot weather and the heat.
And then you're
inside
slower.
the car.
You're just there in the jeepney. Like you can't really move.
Right.
I feel like when you're on the bike, you really are on the go.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
It's a different kind of sweat.
Yeah. But why not? I think we should.
It's dying there.
No, but been talking for, according to this, 2 hours 30.
Nice one.
Nice.
Sit.
Where can people find you online by?
Online, it's just gonna be Rye Kido on Facebook. RYE space KIDO.
That's your personal account, diba?
That's my personal account. There is no secondary account.
And then Cebu Fixed Gear on.
Right. It's either gonna be like through the pages Cebu Fixed Gear on Facebook, Recycled Bikes on Facebook. That's gonna be in Cebu. And also Melvin Bikes. These are like things that I am involved with when it comes to the biking community. And then there's the last one that's almost been inactive, Critical Mass Cebu, and then Tour Jack Adventures. Those are like the two other things that I was like playing with like way back in the days, like adventuring Cebu or like just the Philippines.
Yeah, the most active one is Cebu Fixed Gear, right?
Right, that's the most active one right now. Okay, we're not doing so many recycled bikes right now, even though there's one waiting to be put together. So,
all right,
that's gonna be this coming weekend.
So, okay, thanks, Rye. Thanks for talking to me, bye.
Oh, thanks, my brother. Always a pleasure.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed that episode, that conversation with Rye Kido. A lot of bike talk in that episode. And I know he talks about some of the people in the fixed gear community, and some of them just don't wear helmets and everything. But seriously, I think you should wear a helmet if you're going to cycle here in Cebu. It's not the most predictable environment to get on a bike, and there are real risks. So yeah, wear a helmet. But at the same time, Cebu has a lot of positives as well. Like, another example that I like to say over and over and over and over again is that if you're in Europe or you're in the US, one of the biggest accidents that cyclists get into is just simply when people in cars just open their door, and then a cyclist, they don't look when they open the door, so a cyclist happens to be passing by, and then it hits the open door and they fly over. So in the US, Europe, in places where traffic is more civilized, quote unquote, that happens a lot. Here in Cebu, since the road is so chaotic, there's cars, there's people walking on the road, there's dogs, there's motorcyclists. We've been trained that, whenever we open our doors, we just look before we open. And it's not just that. So I know a lot of people complain about drivers here in the Philippines or in Cebu, but really, in general, people are less, how should we say, in automatic mode. They're more aware here compared to, I believe, like if you go to a place like in America, people in America, they're used to people following the rules. You get what I'm saying? They're used to people following the rules, so that they kind of, they're more, they zone out a lot more while on the roads. Here, it's kind of difficult to zone out unless you're stuck in like 3-hour traffic, because there's so many things happening. Anyway, I don't want to make this outro too long. Thank you, Foressa, for sponsoring the podcast. Music is Piano March by Audionautics. If you want to support the podcast, yes, you, the one listening to this right now, if you reach this far, there's 4 ways to do so. You can subscribe to patreon.com/032. You can buy 032 merchandise. We have an online store, or you can go to our stockists in Republic and BTC, American Boulevard in SM City, Cebu, and Hip Street in Ayala Center, Cebu. Or you can simply share this episode. That helps out a lot. And lastly, you can leave a review on iTunes. All those things help us make this podcast possible. I'll see you next Tuesday. Good night.